It's Operation Babble with Myke Truth. Pop culture, music, movies, TV too. It's time to explore life. It's Operation Babble time.
It's the end of the world as we know. I don't think so. I think I feel fine.
Totally is the end of the world. And Carol Baskin killed her husband. Just so we're clear.
Whoa! Spoilers.
Spoilers? It's not spoilers.
It's a fact.
Oh. OJ,
So, okay.
OJ came out and said something.
So we're gonna,
No way, really?
no.
Oh, dude.
I think that
He even said that he thinks she killed.
damn.
I'm like, oh, that's not a good sign.
The juice calling the kettle a murderer. So you're just gonna get right into it then.
Oh, yeah.
you're
Might
just gonna
as
get
well.
right into it.
Introduce our guest.
Oh, I'm gonna do it. All right. Well, everyone, you know him, you love him. He's been ordained by the man himself, the one they call him or I am. He is back. We are excited. Say hello, sir.
Hey, guys. Isaac here. Thank you, John, for the really theological introduction. I like that. That's nice.
Look, it's important to be not mythical. Let's go biblical. I want you to come in with a presence. My man, my myth, my legend, Isaac, my homie.
There we go.
Nice to have you back, sir.
Love it, dude. Yeah, happy to be here, hanging out in this this whole pandemic.
So as a man that has to meet in mass, literally called mass, on Sundays, usually Wednesdays too, for the people who really care.
Well, right now you have all the Lent services that should be on Wednesday, so. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. More of a Catholic thing, but yeah, sure.
Sure. Oh, get wrecked.
My church does Lent services, and we're not Catholic, so I'm just
Well,
going
That's
off
fair.
of it.
That's fair. That's right.
Nobody wants to be left out. So obviously, not to say you're non-essential. Everybody knows religion.
Oh, I'm
is
not
essential
upset
to
about
certain
that.
people.
I'm not upset about that. Yeah.
Trust me, there are days I wake up and I still go to work, and I kind of wish I was non-essential. It does feel pretty cool to have an email saying that I'm essential. So for once in my life, I feel validated. So obviously, you're working from home then,
Yeah.
which is probably why you're even willing to chat with us today, because you have a little bit of free time.
I won't answer that.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I appreciate it. But we all know people who are probably working from home, free time doesn't actually mean free time. Most of the time it's usually catching up on your normal life, or now you probably have new complications or middle ground problems that you are now dealing with to try and fulfill your obligation.
Oh,
to
yeah.
your conjugation. There you go. I love that
Yeah.
alliteration. Oh, he nails it.
No.
And I'm very curious to see what other kind of hurdles you're dealing with, and are you still like moving forward? Are you doing anything different, or what's the deal?
Yeah, dude, that's actually that's a good question. This has been a time where we said like, hey, let's get creative and do whatever we can do, especially through technology, you know? So like Zoom, we've had a lot of Zoom meetings. I think there's a Zoom meeting scheduled for something different, like every night of the week.
Wow.
Some are official meetings, some are just hangouts. A lot of churches are doing a live stream. So, they kind of set up the camera in the building and everything, and they can do music, they can do a message, sermon, all that stuff. Something I did this last week was I actually recorded like a 30-minute sermon and put it on YouTube and told everybody to watch it. And then I had discussion questions at the end. And then afterwards, we're like, all right, at 11 and at 1 p.m. and at 6 p.m., we're going to have discussion groups. So hop on Zoom. Here's the link. And you want to see people from church and just kind of discuss it together. So that was awesome.
So almost like you put it out, people watch it, and then you monitor the replies or the comments, and then maybe do like a Q&A type thing after that, or you just say, hey, screw it, just come show up, we'll chat no matter what?
Yeah. I had some discussion questions that I gave to the leaders. but it just kind of like let it go where people want to go with it, Yeah, and it's all kind of based off that theme. You have a message that's about that. So I've looked forward to continue doing that. Like it's good.
It's something that I feel is going to end up continuing on even when you're able to open doors back up and stuff too. Because our church does the same thing, and even Bible study with Zoom Bible study and all that. So it's interesting. I'm surprised Zoom servers haven't crashed yet with all the usage.
I know.
Well, it's actually really funny you say the two things. Two things. One, who would have ever thought I'd be mad that I didn't buy stock in Zoom or Charmin toilet paper? Like, let's talk about that. Let's be real.
Purell
right? Like, man, Johnson & Johnson is killing it right now. But then it's really interesting to see this new. It's almost like everybody is finally forced to innovate now. Like, it's almost like all the people who refused to be part of the internet or didn't understand that, like, how actually integral it can be to your day-to-day life. People are starting to notice it. You're obviously seeing like online grocery stores really pick up. You're seeing churches, and coincidentally, which is really funny, one I never thought about because it's part of, I want to say my family because it's been almost 12 years. But Hannah's family, her dad is a psychiatrist, private practice even. And the mom goes around and does like house visits for like special needs families and things like that. She's not like DHS or anything like that. She's like a educator for maybe low income families / like spectrum children, special needs. And you're starting to see them have to do it.
Right.
So like Tom was calling me to like ask about like our setup, like with the mics, and we talked about Zoom, and thanks to Michael, I actually know about Zoom and stuff a little bit. And it's really interesting to see those kind of jobs be able to actually move that way when people would have never thought that was an option.
Right.
And I'm really curious to see moving forward if that is going to be detrimental to those type of jobs. Like the idea of like maybe you'll see less people going out because a lot of people tend to be introverts now, or like they're being a little bit more like not really feeling people, or maybe even getting more paranoid.
Interesting.
Do you think that could be a detriment down the road, or do you think that could really expand for people? Like maybe like imagine you moved away from your favorite church, like Isaac. Maybe they loved you at Gracie Free in Iowa and they miss you. So now instead of actually going to the church on Sunday, which is I would say is part of the experience, so that would be sad.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, getting to hear you speak even from half a country away could be extremely fulfilling and special for them. Do you think maybe we'll have an issue moving forward, or do you think that this might actually be a good thing?
I mean, it's interesting. It's not like, I think there's been hints of that before. I've done often there's somebody sick in our group, and we're like, hey, just Skype in or whatever, so you'll have like everybody in person, and then there's the one laptop sitting there with the person on it,
on the front chair, like, hey.
Yeah, but now you have like the whole group is doing that, right? They're all meeting on Zoom or Skype or whatever. And so I think you might see some more of that stuff where people say, hey, well, I'll just stay at home and I'll just catch the live stream, right? And that's been a concern for a while about people saying like, maybe we shouldn't do live stream because will people just say like, oh, I'm kind of running late, I'll just stay home, just watch it.
The good thing though with it is especially with like churches and stuff like that, it actually grows your reach. Like, that one or two people might not be going in, but you might also be hitting another, 50 to 100 people a day with
that you might have never reached.
Yeah, that you never were going to reach. Especially if you're going like live through not just your own personal website, but like Facebook. I know a church that was on Twitch. There was a church
Yep,
on
there you
Twitch.
No way.
I was like,
That is
okay,
cool.
that's
That is cool.
Oh, dude, community. You could give them bits
Yeah.
into the
Or
the,
you know, if
yeah.
you're a Prime member, you can sub to them and they get paid for that too. and
That's
shit like that,
awesome,
so-
actually.
So I
really
mean, I'm
cool.
not sure if it was like a full on like the church ran the Twitch channel, or if
Yeah.
it was like the guy that like the pastor was a Twitch member or something that
Yeah.
maybe just put it there. But it was still interesting. It wasn't one that made any money off of their channel and stuff. But you can still drop in like, hey, make your offering to this one.
Yeah, you can
or
donate.
whatever.
Or, like,
Patreon
send a link
and
out
all
or
that.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should totally do that. Like I've got some real nerdy sermons, like talk about like Star Wars and stuff.
Oh,
Like
you are the king. I've always told people you're the king of analogies
Yeah.
and metaphors and stuff. And and like you said, you posted to YouTube. I mean, think about the random people that would just randomly see your video that have nothing, don't live anywhere near you, maybe not even religious, and then one day they saw it and
Yeah.
it could spark something. That's
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
neat. I think I find that to be neat.
Yeah, I threw one out a week ago called like dealing with stress. And I'd say it was like half just good tips for anybody, but then half was a pretty tight like tie into faith. And a lot of people watched it, a lot of people shared it. I was kind of like, wow, this is really
That's
so
awesome.
so I think you'll see maybe the people that are gifted in that. Because I know there's some people that don't like it. They don't like being in front of a camera.
Yep.
They'll get on stage and talk to like 500 people, but they don't like being on camera.
Right.
So
Well,
I
it's an
think-
intimate experience. I mean, you're sitting there and you're getting live reaction from an audience. I think it's the same. I
Yes.
think I would maintain it's the same thing of like, you might not see an actor who likes to do film go to the stage. You can see a stage person move to film really well, but very seldom do you see somebody from cinema. I wouldn't say necessarily regress,
Interesting.
but maybe change platforms to
Yeah.
the stage because maybe they're not used to constant feedback, like initial feedback. Right
It's been interesting seeing like some of the musicians doing like concerts, live streaming concerts from
Yeah.
like their house and stuff. I know there's one this Friday that I'm actually gonna try and check out because he's like, I'm gonna try and do something no one else has done and stuff like that. So it should be
Sweet.
interesting to see what he does with that.
Well, you
But
you
even, like,
talked about WWE,
Yeah,
like,
with the
multiple
wrestling and
times.
stuff, it's like they're having to change up their format too every week to try and like evolve into something that's a little more powerful, a little more catchy, because the audience is like the main thing that makes for that show. And sometimes
Yeah.
even for concerts, like why would I watch a concert if there's not? Otherwise, it's just a music video.
Well, this is to be fair. That's always kind of it was always kind of the thing I was always kind of a prick about when it came to concerts. I was like, why am I paying all this money to hear a crappier version of the song that I actually like?
Right. Most time they're
But-
lip singing anyways, or
But like Hannah's been pretty good about trying to pull me away from that. She goes and sees these people called Ghost. They're not like heavy metal, but they're like this weird, like almost like I don't want to say gothic. I don't really know how I would categorize them, but they're very niche.
grunge.
Like, no, they're like
Okay.
they're like she would be able to really articulate. She's gonna fucking hate me when she hears this, but they're just kind of like I don't know. They're cool. They're not like metal or rock or maybe like alternative rock type stuff. And but they put on a whole show. Like they wear all these like ghoulish stuff and like they come out looking like bishops and stuff. It's like it's very like Mexican Day of the Dead type stuff.
Oh, are you talking? What is it called?
The band is called Ghost. And she's like super into it. For me, I'm like, I'd almost be like, yeah, the event could be fun. I probably would never buy this CD, but I would absolutely go to a concert. You know what I mean? So it's like the other side of the coin. Like when you go to like, we could make the argument about movies, maybe like seeing a Marvel film opening weekend with a group where everybody's just excited to be there could really paint your perspective of a film versus it being just digitally streamed to your house and you're sitting there by yourself really getting to engage with it rather than with everything around you.
Yeah, totally. I think something that I've been super thankful for in all this is experience with acting, and I'm very comfortable in front of the camera. And
when you're very quick-witted, can I kind of toot your horn for you a little bit? You're extremely articulate, and you're very, very quick-witted, and you are very eloquent, and I would have to say really when it comes to your speech patterns or like just your delivery, you're very I guess the best word would probably say you're really fluid. You don't feel like you stumble on anything. You always feel very precise, and I think that's probably why I find you so engaging. Is you tend to very much know what you're saying, and you deliver it in a very, very focused way.
Well, thanks, man. I do think there's something to being prepared. Like, you know, when you have a whole week to prepare a talk, that's a lot more fluid than just kind of sitting down and shooting the breeze and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I do think there's something where on your own, you're not aware of what you look like or how you sound. And then you start hearing yourself recorded, you start seeing a video of yourself, and there's that kind of initial like, I hate myself, I'm so awkward. Like
when you hear your own voice on an answering machine or something, you're like, no.
Yeah. It's like,
So do you
annoying.
So do you still do like the whole like I stand in front of a mirror and practice my sermons? And
I don't stand in front of a mirror. No, I do practice them out loud. As much as I can, but yeah. So I feel like I'm over that. Like I know what I look like. I know how I sound.
Yeah.
I know I'm kind of awkward. Like that's fine. People they don't mind a little awkward.
Speaking of the way you look, we're gonna get into this quick. You are very woolly right now. You have a very woolly beard going on. Very, very Kratos.
I've trimmed it a little bit, but just kept it even. So like I'm kind of letting the length go. I'm just trying to keep it even.
So 2 questions. 1, does your wife hate it? 2nd, why would you cover up that magnificent jawline? It's a kind of an inside joke, Michael. Sorry, from the old movies. It's we always had to make sure his jawline was very prominent because he's the king.
I had a very just distinct like action face, like strong jawline for our movies. Yeah. The jawline is kind of faded with age, man. Yeah, it's not as strong anymore. Laura likes the beard because I think it does make me look older and wiser, you know, just like
very manly, masculine
presence.
You look like you could chop down a tree if need be, build a fire.
Yeah, you know, there's a certain like regal stature that comes with the beard.
Regal. All right. Well, all right.
Yeah, but she doesn't like it when it gets like real long and it kind of untamed. So this is maybe the longest that she'll deal with. So we'll see in a couple of weeks.
No, everybody knows the rules. Men out there, once you can keep the beard as long as you want. The number one thing I've always heard is once the hair above the lip starts to curl around the lip, you need to cut that shit. You need to trim it, because if she knows it exists when you're making out, it's game over. She will make you get rid of the whole damn thing. So luckily I look like a potato, like a big fleshy basketball when I cut mine off. So she never wants me to go clean shaven. So I lucked out in that department. I always told people, I'm like, I can't be bald and fat. I have to pick one. Like I can't do both. And I still
you just gotta bulk up a little bit, like bulk your arms up, or at least tone them out so it makes up for like the fat face look. You know?
Yeah, just tell people I'm a bouncer. Like it's like I carry my weight. My weight,
or start buying shirts like 2 sizes too small.
No, it's so fucking funny you say that, man. Like that's usually my joke. Is always tell people, I was like, so what's the deal? You either decide to go to the gym or you buy a shirt a size smaller. Like, what do you do? Like, you pick one. So let's see. We got obvious.
Way too far out of any segues.
I know we're so far.
We were all talking about like tech and like, is there going to be innovation and all that stuff, and then it was just kind of.
And then we just got into fucking appearance and it ruined everything.
But seriously, on the whole, like innovation, I think there's a lot of things that will change. And, you know, I was talking with my dad and he said, you know, remember 9/11 and the things that changed.
True.
And I immediately thought like, oh yeah, like TSA. But
we got gas prices going down again.
Right. A lot of things changed culturally, not TSA, because of that. Like we started thinking less about just Americans and like, oh, just like we're the whole world in a sense. No, there's a much bigger world out there than America, and the choices we make, the stuff we buy, like that does affect other people. And so just our age, we're a lot more aware of kind of the big picture and everything going on. And I think you see that some in pop culture too, as there's foreign films that become really popular, bands that become really popular. Whereas, 20 some years ago, like that was not as big a deal. It's just kind of like, well, America's obviously the best at everything. So
not making cars lately.
Yeah. So this could really change the culture, the way that we think, the way that we value our time or going out. Like, dude, think about what it'll be like to see a movie in the movie theater again. Like, it could be the crappiest movie, and I can guarantee I'm gonna have a blast when this thing is over.
Probably. Yeah, I could see it. Just being able to do the popcorn and all the meme stuff that no longer will be a meme because we haven't done it in so long.
Right.
Or I even just got to go with like, man, could you imagine the people who are fighting for minimum wage increases for like lower level jobs and stuff? Holy shit, how do you not use this? And sorry to use the word holy. Crap.
It's fine.
Holy crap. Wait, no, I did it wrong again. No, the idea of not being able to use this as a really good exhibit A, as the idea of like, look at the people who are being considered quote unquote essential. Fast food workers, restaurant people are still doing drive-through stuff and still working, and truck drivers still alive, because we talked about automated driving a week or two ago. So that's really going to be interesting. Like,
I guarantee nobody's pissing off their servers right now, though.
Oof. Well, I'm telling you, man, like it's really daunting to think about the thing. Oh, haircuts. I never thought about that because me being bald, it hasn't been part of my life for the last 6 or 7 years.
There are so many people out bitching right now that they can't get their hair cut or their makeup done. And I'm like,
their nails did.
Really? There are so many more important things than you going and getting, a makeup.
But you got to remember, people are just used to routine.
People are frivolous and they don't know how to live without living so extravagantly. Exactly. Even like the people that are like, not necessarily in the higher class of money and shit, but they still live that way. Oh yeah. It's like, bro, chill out. No one has a job right now. You probably need to not worry about going and getting an $80 haircut or whatever.
Get
it's
that
like,
fade.
Come on.
That fade ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah, my friend, one of her friends is a hairstylist up in Ohio, and they were told, like, in Ohio, it's illegal for them to go house to house to cut hair, but people keep offering her more and more money just to come and cut their hair and do makeup. I'm like, this is crazy.
I'd do it.
Yeah, she'd lose her license and all that shit though.
I'd still do it. I don't care. It's one of those days where it's just like, man, like Hannah lucked out because
you can cut your own hair. You can cut your own
I
damn
can
hair.
because I'm bald. It's pretty easy for me. But when you have like, when you have a certain appearance, I can understand.
The only people that can see that really need it are your essentials that have to go out in public still.
Gotta make the argument though. We have been talking about people like Isaac who get on camera and want to speak, or like my girlfriend's dad is a psychiatrist. Him getting on camera talking to his patients looking like a big bag of ass could be a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who am I to give you life advice
Which is another
when I look
thing,
like I crawled out of a dumpster?
Every time I hear of a celebrity saying, during this time we're not going to shave and shit, I'm like, shut the fuck up. You have them. One, don't tell anyone how to live their life right now.
Yeah.
Because you have like $1 billion in the bank, metaphorically.
It must be a bummer to chill in your fucking mansion while half of us are staying in our two.
Not only that, you think of all the celebrities that had like TV shows and stuff like that are still getting paid every time they're being watched. They're still
baby.
fucking making money.
Seinfeld make like fucking Jerry Seinfeld makes like $1 million a year just on syndication.
He's never gonna go broke.
Never, dude.
No.
Never.
No.
But it's funny you brought that up because you actually brought up something about Joe Rogan. You were talking about.
Oh
that.
yeah, I was talking about Joe Rogan was saying some stuff about the two different
like
incidences.
It's
Gal
like Gal
Gadot,
Gadot. Yeah.
doing the whole music thing, and you know how it was very like insensitive and all that
What's
stuff.
the music thing, Michael?
I don't remember the song. I didn't watch it.
You son of a bitch.
I don't-
All right.
I just
For-
heard about it.
So-
It was all
so I
over
will-
being memed and crap.
I will. I will
whatever.
preface your story, and I will let
Yeah.
you move forward because I didn't see the Joe Rogan thing. I'm
Okay.
very curious. I'm a huge fan of his podcast. I don't know, Isaac. Do you ever watch Joe
Listen.
Rogan's podcast?
I don't think so.
You might find it very interesting because he bounces kind of left. He's very lefty, but he goes left right a lot of times. There was a great
He's himself.
interview.
He doesn't.
Oh,
he's just
yeah.
whoever he is. He did an interview with Robert Downey Jr. when the Tropic Thunder blackface thing came back into
sure.
talks. So that was really interesting. I think you would really find his opinions at least
Interesting.
yeah. But so what happened is about a week or two ago on obviously Twitter, it's the way I could find anything.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot or Gadot, whatever you want, and a bunch of other celebrities. I'm not going to name names because I'm not entirely sure who was all in
I
it.
only know a couple of them that were in
Yeah,
there.
they were singing John Lennon's Imagine, which
Yeah.
a little hokey and corny. They were all singing these songs. They were all like singing a phrase, and they like did a little compilation thing, and then put the video out about like, yo, we're all in this together and stuff. And it's like it's one of those things where it's like we understand that the what do they always say? It's paved with good intentions.
I think that's the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yes.
But I think
Maybe
you're
hell's
thinking,
a little arguable. That's a little angry, but I would say they maybe not have thought that one through. I kind of get what they were going for, but it's like, man, you are so out of touch.
Yeah.
It's cringy.
It seems like something to do like when things are more dying down, not while they're still escalating too.
yeah, or like maybe like a celebration thing, like yay, we did it. Because like the videos I like are those Italy ones where like people are like playing on the balconies for each other, and that's really cute. And then people make like the joke in New York. It's like if you did that, people would be like, shut up, go to bed. But yeah, they got put on blast real hard and to be fair, I was one of those people who jumped immediately to like, could celebrities just kind of shut up for a minute? Like, let the normal people kind of figure out what's gonna go down with us, while unemployment's spiking and healthcare is kind of dying. Well, healthcare is getting put under the microscope, no pun intended, very, very brutally right now. So I'm very interested to see how that's gonna work.
Yeah, man. In Denver, it's supposed to get pretty bad here in the next couple of weeks. Like, yeah. So,
but I mean, think about also like it was funny because you do live in Denver. I didn't even think about all this stuff. Like, we just got out of the winter months, so obviously skiing and the Rocky Mountains alone, just for hiking and stuff. People love to travel out there. It's a great tourist spot. One of the bigger parts I was thinking about was Vegas. Of all places to think about, Vegas has to be dying right now. Literally people touching things all day. And March Madness being shut down, the drafts being shut down. Think about all the in-betting that is just not happening.
Yeah.
They're like the stock market of their own little universe. And it's very interesting to see what's going to probably die when it comes to businesses right now. It's very interesting. I suppose we can get away from this because we could talk about this all day. I guess maybe go back to, I'm not really sure. I got a little bit on a tangent of the same thing, but Michael, what was the Joe Rogan thing? What did he say? Because I didn't actually see it.
Like, he basically attacked her too, just like everyone else did, saying it was, stupid, insensitive, and, how all these Hollywood people are just getting together and, just like in their fucking $1 million mansions and stuff like that, trying to tell the world it's gonna be okay from their, bedroom that costs more than someone's house, and it's kind of ridiculous. And then he went on, like, because I guess Idris Elba said some stuff too about.
Well, he actually got it. I believe.
He got it, but he was like, he said something. I don't recall what he said, so I'm not even gonna try and quote it. But like, saying, go out and get tested and stuff like that. All this, and Joe Rogan's like, well, some people just don't have that fucking option.
Yeah.
They don't have the $1 million in the bank that you do to just go and be like, hey, I want tested now, because he wasn't even showing signs when he went and got tested for it. So it's like, at least Tom Hanks was showing signs and all that stuff. So it's one of those things. It's like not everyone has the money to go out and get tested. I think their government has done something now to where you can get tested. I'm not sure without paying for it. But if you do have it, you still have to pay for the treatment. So not everyone has that.
I think the biggest issue isn't the cost anymore. It's that there's just not enough tests. And so people have said, like, they're like, unless you really meet everything, like you have a fever and you have a cough and all this other stuff, it's like, then you'll get tested. But I had maybe like 1 week into this whole quarantine thing, I got a fever. I was like, oh no. So we have like a single bed in the basement room. So I like set that up. I slept down there. I was like, all right, I'm going to stay separate from Laura. And I called my doctor and they're like, okay, you have a fever. How much? Do you have a cough? And I said, no. And they're like, all right, you're probably fine, but call us back if you start coughing.
Right.
Oh man. No, it's funny because Hannah and I had that talk. I'm not kidding you. And I would like to think that people who, God, seeing the spike in divorces is really funny right now. Like,
is it really going up right now?
Oh yeah. Oh
I guess
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Like
everyone was memeing that, all these kids are going to be
real.
Well, people were saying like all these kids are going to be born from this. I was like, no.
Well, you're going to get the
so
COVID
many
kids.
divorces are going to.
No, you're going to get both. You're going to get both. Don't worry, you'll get both.
They'll probably be divorced with a kid on the way.
What I really wish I could shout this person out. I can't remember them, but they made the joke. The one thing I've learned about COVID-19 is that if you're going to be quarantined, the number one thing is to actually give a shit about the person you love, like the person you live with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that's brutal because of course, like, it's just me and Hannah. Rip Michael. Sorry, you have kids and dogs and stuff. So good luck.
Somebody the other day posted something on Facebook that was like, this is like the perfect time to be glad you're not parents. And I just gave them the biggest fuck you in the comments. I was like, fuck you guys.
That's fucked up. But no, Hannah and I had the real talk. We're just like, we probably are going to get it. Like, she finally gets to be the non-essential. Like, she's still going to work because she's like one of few people who don't make the requirements for having to stay home.
Right.
But me, it's like, well, I'm going to 5 different stores in 3 different towns every week and working, 9-10 hours. And so I'm coming home and going, Hannah, it's like, what am I going to do? Wear one of those Tyrannosaurus Rex, like, inflatable suits to keep myself in quarantine? You know what I mean?
Yes, that's what you're going to do.
Which I would love to do, by the way. So if anybody wants to go to my Amazon wish list and send me one so I don't die, that'd be great. But I told her, I'm like, just get to a point where, like, we're both just going to have to assume we get it. Like, let's play that and let's plan for that. How about that? As long as we're planned out and ready to go, we'll go that route.
Well,
so,
here Nick lives, Nick works touching everything everyone else fucking touches still.
But you know what I mean?
It's
just one of those things where it's just like, if I'm going to go to work every day, it comes with it.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
And who am I to fucking complain? At least I get a paycheck every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still getting to work. I'm still getting to stay in my routine that could really, drive a person crazy when you see that broken. And but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to take it too lightly or whatever, but I'm one of those people that, like, I have an immune system, and at the end of the day, if I was gonna go, I probably would have gone by now. I'm kind of that guy because, again, I'm the idiot who drove around Minnesota the last 3 years with a pretty high end driving job where I drive to different cities every morning, and like negative 56 winds last year without heat in my car.
Ooh.
I did that for 3 years, and I'm still here. So I'm stupid, but apparently the body is working. So I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna trust on my stuff and hope for the best. But yeah.
So
and like doctors are coming out and saying that if you just touch somebody, that's not enough to get it. Like if somebody says something down, you pick it up. It's like you gotta touch your face. Like it has to get on your face. So just wash your hands.
So I'll just start wearing plastic, like scary masks, right? Like Halloween masks.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. I'll do that.
Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Fuck.
William Shatner.
God, is that really why is it so pale?
They painted it, dude.
Oh, is it? Well, don't fuck. I asked. Don't get up my ass about it. I didn't know.
I would assume you know that they.
No,
it's just a painted Michael Myers mask.
So they probably airbrush paint. I was like, well, because when you say painted, I'm like, oh, wouldn't it
either that or they got one before they put the pigment on it. You know, they could have done that.
Racist.
I don't know. Whatever.
That's white face.
You're the one asking why it was so pale. So.
Well, I just wanted to know, but then you were like, go fuck yourself, John. You don't know that? It's like, well, no, that's why I asked. It's like going to a kid. It's like, Daddy, why is 2 + 2 not Jello? You're like, you fucking idiot.
That's the 5 seconds of slashery.
Yeah, remember when that segment was a thing? I'm not gonna lie.
This whole like pandemic is like, 2 hours of slashery.
I feel bad. That we don't hear that anymore. I miss that. I miss that tone.
We'll get back to it. But I did want to say, because you were talking about being quarantined with people and stuff, that Pauly Shore is actually doing like a YouTube show right now.
Biodome 2? Yeah!
I wish. That's called like Paul.
I gotta chuckle out of fucking eyes. Like, I'm gonna take it.
It's called. Let me see. Pull up the picture here. Pauly Shore is quarantined with his ex on Maui. So,
hey, buddy.
Yeah, it's a thing that he's just doing because he was already there and shit like that. So
fair enough.
Stand-up shows. Random Rants podcast right now. Enjoy episode 2 of the scripted series. Pauly Shore is quarantined with his ex on Maui. So at least somebody's getting some like new stuff out there. Well, honestly, this is the time for YouTube people to like pick their game up and just like, bro.
Oh, fuck YouTube. YouTube doesn't know what they're doing, man.
YouTube, Facebook. I'm tired of TikTok. I did download the app, but I haven't used it.
Oh my God.
I downloaded it and I'm just like,
what are you, 17?
Now what do I need to do?
Snapchat tomorrow too?
I've had Snapchat.
You e-thought. Michael's an e-thought girl. So okay. God darn it,
dude! Somebody told me that like the 13-year-old was on TikTok and like walked up to them and was like, "Hey mom, hey dad, okay boomer," and the parents are like, "We're not boomers. What are you doing?" Apparently, that's something like TikTok is like go.
Well, it's have you seen the Okay Boomer Girl? Have you seen the Okay Boomer Girl?
No.
God, you're both old. Come on.
Yeah.
Get on Twitter once, guys. Just once.
No.
But boomers are
Twitter
people that are like,
it's a petri dish of hate. I hate it. But no, it was this girl. I can't remember her name. It's like Nico something handle. It was like, okay, boomer, and she was like, just one of those like thought girls who's like showing midriff and dancing around all cute.
Yeah.
And she's one of the girls who post fucking slutty selfies all day,
just for the attention.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For the what do they call it? Clout and all that shit. Is that what kids
and she
call
was
it
wearing
these
like
days?
and she was wearing like a Bernie Sanders shirt. So
every time I hear a rapper say the word clout, I just want to smack them. Like
I keep hearing clit, and it's weird. But God darn it, Michael, this is not going to pertain to you in any way.
But
So
I'm
feel
still
free.
gonna say something about it.
I mean, you feel free to log off for 2 seconds because you're a bad person. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Because Isaac, I don't know if you heard, I did send you a link to this story today.
Ooh.
Apparently, Andrew Jack, who is very famously known in Hollywood as a
Oh yeah, the dialect
I almost
coach.
said, yeah, thank you. I almost was like diarrhea. No,
Yeah.
a dialect coach. Very prominent for one of our favorite series, Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, not the Hobbit crap trilogy.
Well,
Oh,
that's
really?
not the Lord
Okay.
of the Rings. That's the Hobbit.
He what? Shut up. Shut up, Michael. So Michael still hasn't seen the other 2 films, which
Also,
I still
the
do not
original
understand.
Lord of the Rings is a cartoon, just so we're clear.
I hate you. The original Lord of the Rings was a book. Shut up. I hate you.
There's a
so
couple
much.
books.
I hate you so much right now. So he's a bad person. I don't know how you don't finish the trilogy after watching the first one.
I
But,
told you I'll do one a year. We'll do it this summer.
He passed away. He passed away on April 1st, which, of course, I don't understand why it would have been an April Fool's joke, but I needed to wait a day to make sure to bring it up. And obviously, all the people who knew him, like Carl Urban, Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, all those people, obviously came out and supported him. He's also worked on things like the new Star Wars films, like a couple of them. He helped. He helped.
So
on
that's why they're
Solo.
not that good.
How dare you? Do not. How dare you? Don't disparage a man. Do not talk ill of the dead.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, right now, because Star Wars is dying too. But and Solo Star Wars story. Apparently, like the guy, I don't know his name. The fake Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
He taught him how to speak Wookiee,
Oh really?
which is really neat. And people like
cool.
regale some of the stories of him, like to him and you know, and the new guy who was playing Chewie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, apparently complications from COVID-19. Sure.
Yeah.
He's also relatively old. He died at 76. It's a real shame. But I thought that was relevant to us because I don't know about you, but I do regale the Lord of the Rings trilogy to be the best trilogy. I'm sorry, Star Wars. I love you. I think you're great and innovative and wonderful. I will still always tell myself the Lord of the Rings trilogy is peak cinema for me. Absolutely for me.
Is it because it's just a bunch of people walking around and you just don't want to do that? So you'd rather watch it?
I saw Clerks. I saw Clerks 2, Clerks 2 as well. I saw the Clerks sequel as well, Michael. I understand the joke. No, it's just it was one of those things where it's like I love Star Wars. I think it's cool. I like the characters. I like the mythos. Who doesn't think a lightsaber is pretty neat? But at the end of the day, Lord of the Rings had just so many awesome characters.
Yeah.
And they also had to work, and most people know, like, especially with like Harry Potter or Ghost in the Shell and things like that, it's really hard to adapt something faithful enough to where you get a really strong response.
Yep.
So that's impressive.
Oh,
The soundtracks are some of the most impressive things I've ever heard, and the attention to detail that they went through. I mean, think about it, man. The Hobbit set in New Zealand is still an actual attraction. People go there,
Right.
and check it out. It feels timeless.
it's like right next door to where they're putting all the Avatar stuff.
Probably.
It is. It
No,
is.
absolutely. No, yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
James Cameron bought the
They
property
really
right
think-
next to it.
They really think Avatar can be the next thing. It's not going to, but you know, especially because James Cameron pissed a lot of people off with Dark Fate. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see.
But yeah, sad
So-
news in the world of Hollywood.
Just wait till he
Thought it
does
was helpful
Titanic
for
too.
us.
He'll do Titanic too, and everyone will
I'm
be
down.
like, "Oh,
Give me Titanic 2.
where's Jack?" It's gonna be the prequel for Jack.
No, I was gonna say no sequel. Screw that sequel. I want to see Leonardo DiCaprio's bloated corpse come out of the ocean.
Titanic zombies.
And you're like, yeah,
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
And he builds his own Titanic. And
Oh
does
no!
it.
It starts right after old ass Rose dropped the heart of the sea into the ocean.
Yeah, he catches
he
it. And
catches it and he
up out of the
raises
water
up with
it.
the army of all the other dead assholes from the Titanic.
Michael, I
That's
think
right.
we made a movie.
We just did.
I think we just pitched a film.
At least we're talking about something.
God. Yeah, let's
And
get off all
in-
this depressing stuff.
And in Jack's DNA is the cure for coronavirus.
Oh,
Man,
there you
why'd
go.
you have to bring it back? Damn it.
No, it shouldn't be in
Why?
Jack's DNA. It should be in. Oh no, wait, he survived, didn't he? Did the asshole survive in that movie? I don't remember.
Yeah, because he got on the lifeboat because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a prick. What was his name? Billy Zane.
Yeah, Billy Zane. I like Billy Zane though. Billy
Everybody
Zane's
likes
dope.
Billy Zane. He was the Phantom. It was a
Yeah.
terrible film. It's a terrible
Oh, that's
film.
so fucking good.
It's a terrible
Screw
film.
you. All the skulls.
I
you
still
guys
watch
are-
it. I own it. I think it's fine. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. Dude, he looks like an asshole in the costume. He looks like a dickhead. It's really funny, though.
At least they tried. That's back when like the Shadow movie came out, right?
That's what I'm saying. Or, yeah, with fucking Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that one, too.
Yeah.
They're not great.
I
but
had
like
the
them.
action figures from that one, so
Oh, of course you do.
I still do actually. So
Awesome. That's awesome. So I don't know. So what else? What else are we watching, boys? Anything exciting?
oh,
Since
actually,
we're quarantined for the most part.
I did watch one thing earlier today, just because I'm homeschooling, so I have nothing really to do but just sit here in the office, make sure the kids do their stuff.
Well, you know,
So I
corn is
watched
cool.
a couple nights ago. Me and my brother Kenny, who has been on the podcast before, we were talking for like 2 hours straight one
He's
night.
hilarious. Bring him back, please.
And
I miss him.
I was going to. He's been working. He's an essential. An essential. There's like
Dude, shout out to all my E words. Fucking raise your hand if you're essential.
we need to make shirts for them.
Right.
So we were just staying up, basically just going through what was on the streaming services and stuff like that. Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, all that crap. We literally for 2 hours, that's all we did, and like shouted out like synopsises of movies and crap that we've never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this gem of a movie called Killer Sofa,
Killer Sofa.
and it's on Amazon Prime.
Sponsored by IKEA.
This funny thing is, even in the synopsis, I'll pull it up here, but the Killer Sofa is, it's what you think it's gonna be. It's a B movie. And hold on a second. What was it on Prime?
It's like a comfort film, right? Like,
Yeah, it's a horror film. You would think it was made by Troma almost, but it seems to have a little better camera work, I guess, in it. And
Is it like an abstinence promo film?
No,
Like
no, it's so bad.
What do you think they're banging the mattresses, Isaac? What are you talking about?
no,
What
they're
was
banging
that?
on the mattress and then it eats them. You know, it's like, ooh,
not a
Netflix and chill, and then all of a
So-
sudden it's like, "Rah,
That's the funny.
don't have sex,
the-
kids.
Here's the
You're
funny
bad
thing, okay? So
Eat
it's
your
called
cornflakes.
Killer Sofa, and this is the synopsis on Amazon.
No.
It's called Killer Sofa.
Awesome.
When a killer lazy boy chair.
Why's it got to be a boy? That's
So
sexist.
it's not even a real sofa; it's a recliner. So it's when a killer lazy boy chair falls in love with a girl. It's up to a disgraced Jewish rabbi and a couple of
What the fuck?
and a couple of broken-hearted detectives to figure out how to stop the bloody carnage that will follow. This movie,
I would watch the shit out of that.
so much like I was just like, what is going on? Why? And it's only an hour and 20 minutes. It's definitely worth just checking out. Just
Wow.
to, even if you just want to be confused at the end, because I
I'm
was confused.
right now.
It sounds like Velocipaster.
Yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
okay, so have you seen that?
I watched like maybe like 20 minutes of it.
I haven't gotten to watch
So
it
you
yet.
couldn't even finish it? You couldn't do it.
I mean, I wasn't even just watching and watching. It was on in the background when I was doing like
Oh.
emails and stuff. I mean, it is trying to be
As
like a
stupid as
parody.
possible. As
Like it
stupid
is
as
trying
possible.
to, yeah, like like at the very beginning, he waves to his parents, and then a car explodes, and there's no actual car on fire exploding. It just has like special effects shot like in words on the screen.
Oh, so it's like Batwoman.
I don't know. You know, okay. I read a great review of Batwoman, and it said, for years,
Oh no.
straight white nerds have had terrible superhero shows to watch. Finally, lesbians now have their own terrible superhero show to
I saw
watch.
that. That's funny.
That's fucked up.
They have recently hinted at Batwing showing up in it.
I
So
don't give a shit. I'll take my
I kind of
pants off
want
and
to
show
see
you
what
a
the Batwing show, the Batwing outfit looks like.
No bullshit though. No bullshit though. You give me the Luke Fox from fucking Infinitisms or whatever. I'll watch that show.
Earth 52.
Infinite Earths or whatever.
Yeah.
Crisis on Infinite Stupids.
Yeah.
That fucking that's the worst crossover ever made. That might literally be the worst bit of television ever made. I might throw that out there. It's pretty awful.
Well,
It has
It's
its
pretty
moments.
awful.
It has its moments, but that's about it.
I don't even know about their moments, man.
Yeah, I'm glad that
Like
they
maybe
gave
one an episode.
I'm glad that they gave the original Flash his like
That was my
good
favorite
send
off. I think that was my favorite.
I don't know if you've watched the Legends, but the send off they gave to Adam is fucking horrible.
Pretty trash.
I
Brandon
was-
Ruth.
Yeah, I was disappointed in that. So, yeah.
Did you see the little picture of or the like little video on Twitter or whatever about with Brandon Ruth and the little kid in a Spider-Man costume, and they were saying
It's his son.
Was it his son?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They called it the Marvel DC crossover we really needed.
Yeah.
So I guess his son was in a Spider-Man costume, and he was in the Superman costume from the crossover, and he like does like the hands on the hips pose, like the traditional iconic pose for Superman. And the kid's like, "No, I'm not having it." He runs up and like forced his hand up in the air like he was flying.
Yeah.
It was one of the most adorable fucking things I've ever seen in my life. It was so great. It was so cool. I'm sorry, man. Like, when you look like a fucking superhero, like, is there nothing better than being able to do something like that? Like, that's neat. I love people who get like awesome costumes and go to hospitals. And
I'm
shit.
interested to see what happens with him. Because honestly, I really wanted him to be Superman again.
I would love for a Kingdom Come. I would
Yeah.
love for the DC app, the DC Universe app, to greenlight a Kingdom Come.
I just think he's done
Superman with Brandon Ruth.
I think DC's done with him right now. Like,
Fuck that, dude. They'll call him back. If anything comes out of it, putting him back in that suit and seeing the fan reaction to that, I refuse to believe that he's not getting a phone call again. I refuse.
maybe.
And he's a relatively
Maybe that's why they
what else
wanted
did
to
he
let him
do?
go.
What else has he done? Zack and Miri and Dylan Dog. What the fuck was Dylan Dog? Like, that was terrible. It was kind of fun to watch, but it was terrible. Like, I'm curious to see Courtney Ford, because I'm curious to see what she does. She was in Dexter. I always forget about that.
Oh, I finally started getting Nick to start watching Dexter.
She like it?
She's still on the fence. She doesn't know yet. We're 4 episodes in. We just met. Have you seen Dexter before?
yeah.
Yeah, so we just met Dexter's brother finally, but it hasn't come
Okay.
out that
Okay.
it's his brother. It's just
Yeah,
as the
right.
doctor.
Spoiler.
Ice
Yeah.
Killer, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
spoilers.
the ice truck killer.
Dude, Dexter season 1 is like really, really super good.
It's
I think it's all good up until
It's
at
good.
the end of the John Lithgow season.
I am finding some
Yeah.
of their camera choices in the first season very weird, but that's
it's because it's really low budget.
yeah. It was like when they first started doing that type of camera work too for
You can-
shows.
You can see about episode 8, they get into their formula. Like, you can tell it became very
Yeah.
formulaic.
Yeah.
And it took about half the season to
Yeah.
get there. Once they got there, though, it was because they did a lot more handheld. Was something I really noticed.
Yeah, they
in
were a
the
lot more
first-
handheld.
in the first season. But I imagine
they
I
always
think they wanted it to be.
They tried doing like these indie shots of like, we're gonna go behind this and get I was like, what are you doing? I can't see what you want me to see.
Exactly. So I think they forgot that like they were like the good, like they were like a creepy Law and Order or Criminal Minds before Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Without all the bullshit graphic editing and stupid crap.
Oh, my Parasite Blu-ray came in too, so I get to finally rewatch that.
Oh, good for you. 1917 came out on 4K. Can't wait to buy that. I'm excited. Yay.
Did it get released on disc already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, boy. I'm excited. What about you, Isaac? Anything exciting? Anything new?
I've been watching Star Trek Voyager because
wow, Voyager.
I have been Laura and I have slowly been working through the Star Trek canon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so we started with the original series.
Did you watch the movies after you watched the series?
We did.
Yeah.
We watched original series, then we watched those movies, then we watched Next Gen. But we didn't watch the Next Gen movies.
The Next Gen movies are hard because some of them go in between the seasons, which is one of the harder parts about it. Like, because you had Generations was before they even like started finishing up Next Gen, the show. And then like Nemesis was the last horrible Star Trek movie.
This is when I'd be slamming my nerd button.
I don't like the Next Gen movies that much.
No. Well, the Next Gen movies were literally, besides Generations, they were almost all just like episodes of the TV show, just popped into like a movie time limit. That's about it.
So,
and I'm not gonna watch Generations again. And I saw it in the theater, and I'm not gonna watch it again. And I don't want to subject Laura to that because I think it's.
Oh, come on! That's what you get. Picard.
You gotta
and
take
Kirk.
the good with the bad, right?
You get Picard and Kirk in the same movie, man.
I know, but Kirk dying is just too much. It's too sad.
Yeah. Also, okay, so that.
At least he got a send off though, so. You know, you don't just see him not.
Send off is not a. Shut up. Picard, if they showed you anything. God.
I've not watched that show yet. I've not watched it.
Seeing that.
I have.
Get there.
I watched.
I'm gonna get there.
I don't want. If he doesn't want
Michael,
spoilers, don't spoil it for him.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm asking. I gotta ask a thing.
Okay.
So if you're doing that, question. 2 questions, so don't answer. Let me finish both things.
Okay.
1, are the J.J. Abrams films going to be part of that? Think about that. Are they going to be part of this whole deal? And 2, do you see yourself doing all the CBS stuff, Discovery, STD, which apparently Michael could not figure out what a freaking
I didn't put 2 and 2 together for the longest time.
Or Picard. Do you plan to watch either of those?
Yes, I plan to watch those. I've not heard great things overall, but I plan to watch those. And yes, we've already watched the J.J. Abrams movies. We saw them when they came out.
Yeah, I'd assume. Okay.
And
are you going to go back and rewatch them as part of like the whole deal, or are you just like, I've seen them?
There's no point.
Well, that's kind of how I feel.
They
you know
don't
what I
go
mean?
with it,
but that's what I'm saying.
After you watch all of Next Gen, I mean, once he's to Voyager, there's no point because those movies take place after Next Gen's movies do.
Yeah.
In the
timeline. I think the main question I'll have is will I go back and watch Enterprise? Because we actually did watch, I think, season 3 of Enterprise at the start of all this. Because I was watching it, and Laura hadn't really seen that much Star Trek. Like she's watched some as a kid and stuff, but I was like, well, if you're kind of interested in Enterprise, like let's watch the original series.
You're like, if I can get my wife to sit down and nerd out with me.
Enterprise is, I think Enterprise is probably one of the harder ones to get into as well because, like, you got the original series. That one, it's only 3 seasons, whatever. You can knock that out easily. Then you get into like Next Gen. Once you're in that time era. It's like that's everything, and then Enterprise goes 100 years before the original series, and you're just like, the technology is like what I have in my living room right now, and I'm so confused and what's going on.
Wow, fucking humble brag. Look at my fucking living room. It's like the Enterprise.
Yeah.
I'm so cool.
I think, the Enterprise, the first 2 seasons were not that great. I think they didn't execute well. The 3rd season was good because they picked like an overall plot.
Have you seen the entire Enterprise show? The 5
I haven't
seasons?
seen season 4.
So
is there 5 seasons?
There's 5. They got 5. They were supposed to get 7, but they canceled. They closed that off at 5 because every series after Next Gen was supposed to get 7 seasons. That's why they all drag out to 7 seasons.
Okay.
But it got 5 seasons.
Better than dragging out a story longer than it needs to go.
You can tell it got canceled out at the 5 seasons because of how the last episode ends. It kind of pissed me off. I was just like, oh, yeah. Oh, cool. Thanks.
I heard about that.
It's like every show that dude does, because they did it with Quantum Leap. They screwed him over in Quantum Leap and didn't give him a good, close off for that. They just canceled it, and he's still like supposedly lost out. And
what is that? You said wait, what? It was Timothy Dalton? Is that who that's?
Oh, I don't remember his name. His actual name?
Yeah, because I think he was on Doctor Who too, which also died this year.
No, I'm looking it up.
What the hell was his name?
Scott Bakula.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott Bakula?
Yeah.
Oh,
Scott
no. Bakula. I was like, is it Dracula's brother?
Because they screwed him when they ended Quantum Leap. He was supposed to go home, but he never got home by the time they ended it. So you're just left to him still just jumping around from fucking body to body, time to time. I'm just like, this is stupid. Why did you guys do that to us? They need to bring that show back and give me a closeout.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
1 season,
After
10
all this
episodes. Just
we
do
all
it.
say that. Like nowadays, I'm like, yeah, bring it back. It's like, no, please don't.
CBS can do it for me.
You're gonna ruin it. You're gonna ruin all of it.
Or no, it's NBC.
Because you were talking about how they kind of planned out to go 7 season, which I always think is a bad idea. Let your story.
Well, that's what they were contracted for. They were contracted to do 7 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's always a really daunting task. Because being like, we gotta fill all these episodes with shit.
Yeah, that's the thing with the original Trek series is where there was always so many filler episodes that you had like a little bit of a story, but then they like cancel it out with like doing 5 filler episodes between each one.
Yeah, and it's annoying. It's a little annoying.
DS9 got away from it the most, and then Voyager does a little bit too. They get away from doing like a lot of filler because they're by themselves. So like almost every episode is building onto their story.
It was the argument we made about an overarching storyline versus like a little like one-off episode. It's funny because it's kind of a I'm such a broken record. Okay, so I started watching the new season of Schitt's Creek. Dropped a while back, and the final episode I believe airs next week. I finally caught up to it. It's a great show, still love it. Little pissy on the last episode, but I think they did it on purpose, so we'll see how that goes. Michael, please don't be mad. This is really dumb. I don't know how it happened. Well, I know how it happened. I'm a stupid man. So, have you guys heard of the YouTube TV app? It's new. Relatively new.
The YouTube TV
app.
Is that like different from YouTube Premium?
Yes. Which it's like it's all bundled in, obviously. But YouTube TV is obviously different than YouTube Red or RedTube. No RedTube's porn. So the reason why I got on my radar. Sorry, everyone, to fucking throw another story at you.
No, he's
This
not.
is like a really long tangent or interruption.
Yes, I'm sorry. I
just got to say one thing. Never mind. I got to tell the story
because I have to
about this TV show.
I have to preface because
Let's
I feel like
through. Come on, just go.
Because I feel like a dummy. So the Super Bowl came. YouTube TV gave you the option to stream the Super Bowl if you did the 7-day trial. The 7-day trial. Classic. I didn't forget to cancel it. The only way you could cancel it is like this like weird bullshit roundabout thing that you had to do it on the desktop. Couldn't do it from the phone. I tried to email and do a bunch of shit. By then, couldn't be fucking bothered. Fucking cost me $40. Really pissed off. But that being said, app's pretty good. Has a lot of shows, has a lot of stuff. My biggest problem, fucking hell, dude. I forgot what it was like to watch TV with just constant ads all the time. And the worst part is on the internet, they just have a package, like a monthly package of 4 fucking ads. So you just watch the same 4 fucking ads.
Yep.
Every single fucking time.
Yep.
And when you're doing it for 10 episodes, Michael, I want to die. Isaac, it's insane.
It's a good thing I don't bleep the F-bomb on this podcast, because that I would have just cut that whole thing you just said.
My brain, my fucking brain, dude. But the problem is, it's actually a pretty decent app. Has a lot of stuff, has movies and shows. I can't justify $40 to $50 a month for it. It just seems, especially when there's so many fucking ads. There's so many ads.
I'm so confused as to why you jumped into that.
John, I just have one question for you.
Yes.
Are you unhappy with the size of your mattress?
I hate you both.
Try Casper mattress today.
God, I fucking hate you. I hate both of you. Why are you two bad people?
Do you get the MeUndies ads too?
Look,
I don't get those.
My whole deal is that I needed to find a way. Well, okay. Oh, no. Here it is. Is that I got fucked and I canceled it, but they're like, well, you canceled it, but you were too late, so you have it for another month. So I'm like, well, fucking hell. If I paid for it, I'm going to check it out.
You pay, it's $40 a month?
It's like 40 or 50.
For what do you get?
That's
everything. It's like ESPN, all the stuff, and like late movies, like new movies that have come out, like all kinds of shit. But
couldn't you just get Hulu?
Oh well, no. Well, yeah, probably. But shut up! I didn't mean to. Like I told you, this was a fuck up. Can you please? You guys are gonna make fun of me. At least follow the story, you fucking assholes. No. But I got stuck with the app for a month, so of course, why not fucking use it? Right. If I have if a butt plug just accidentally got sent to my house, I might use it. I just saying.
Accidentally.
Those are not the same at all.
You don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know me. You don't know my life. But no, like,
are you thinking about that picture I texted you the other day with the smiley face butt plug?
Maybe you're a bad person. Again, you're a bad person.
It's not a bad person.
The new season of the new season of Rick and Morty was on it, and the new season of Schitt's Creek, which I've talked about multiple times.
Okay, I was wondering where we were going with this.
This is how I got back. So I've been watching it. So again, Schitt's Creek, still a good show. It's in their final season.
Even though you paid $40 for it?
Shut up. I fucking hate you.
You could have bought the thing for that.
I know. I didn't buy it specifically for it, Michael. God darn it.
You could have bought like a role on the show. Like, hey, write me in. Here's all this money.
You could have bought a Casper mattress.
All right, Isaac. I'm not gonna. I'm already taking it from him. You can just sit there and just.
Actually, for $40, you could have got the Casper pillow.
Guys, I'm gonna cross my arms. I'm just gonna cross my arms. I'm angry. But so Schitt's Creek, I'm enjoying it. They said they were going to do a 6th season, final season, because he felt the story had progressed.
Yeah,
which I appreciate. Good viral hit. Sorry to say the word viral again during pandemic, but he felt the story had run its course, so he felt we're done. I appreciate that as a writer. I think that's cool. Second. Rick and Morty. Do you guys watch any of that?
Some.
Yeah, I watched the first 3 seasons.
Okay, I'm a huge fan. I'm gonna say it if you guys are gonna watch it. Be prepared for this newer season. Dan Harmon was obviously going through a lot of stuff. He's a pretty well known alcoholic. Had a divorce, and he's very, very touchy. Like, the show is always really, it was kind of like the South Park of our generation. I would make the argument maybe.
Okay.
They really like to touch on social issues, or like how pop culture works, or like the inner workings of human nature and shit like that.
Yeah.
This one got really soapboxy. Like it almost, and I noticed that Dan Harmon did a lot of voices in this season versus the other seasons.
Okay.
So it got really blatant, like almost to where you kind of felt uncomfortable, or you were like, oh, fucking hell, I get it. You know what I mean? And I kind of hated the fact that happened a few times. Show's still great. Don't get me wrong.
It happens with a lot of stuff nowadays, though, unfortunately.
Well, we brought it up. I was really worried because Good Place is on this app as well. And I'm really looking forward to watching the final season. But I was saying the last season got really soapboxy and like meta soapboxy. Not like just like, we're going to tell you our thing in a fun little metaphorical sense, versus like, hey, stupid, slap. I totally slapped my pop filter. Like this idea of like, you almost reach through the screen and slap me in the face, to where it's like, do you get it, stupid? Like,
right.
And I hate that.
Well, that's
I
another
really
show
do.
though too that is ending. The 4th season is ended. The
Yeah,
series,
which
because they were like, this is how men. We don't have anything else to tell you after this.
Yeah, and that's
Which
why
is
I like it.
cool, but I can see some parts in season 3 that were a little pushy, I guess, sometimes.
Just kind of like, I get it. Like, it's
I mean,
like,
I don't know.
we watch it with the kids, so for us, it's like,
Yeah.
yes, listen to that, you know.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Right. Yeah.
So
I don't know. Well, yeah, like, can you give me an example? Because I didn't feel that way. I felt like, wow, I'm kind of glad this TV show is actually like talking about this.
I'm trying to remember what all they
with Good
did
Place,
in season
there's
3.
there's a scene with Chidi and Kristen Bell's character. I can't remember her name
Yeah.
for the life of me right now.
Eleanor?
Yes, thank you. And they're in a bar. They're in like a restaurant bar. This is right after they left the judge lady.
Okay.
Or maybe right before they went to the judge lady. And they were just like talking to each other, and they were just giving pop culture references to each other. And I'm like, it seems really strange that you're giving like in real life, like meta stuff, like Deadpool almost type metas, like commentary, when you've been dead for a minute. And I don't even know how far you guys have reached for the last 1 or 2 years, or what you would know. Or
Well,
it's really strange. Like,
but we don't know what year they died. I think they have never established it, but they've supposedly been dead for a couple 100 years.
yeah. Well, okay. So the difference is like they would make a metaphorical thing like at the beginning. Like, really, the only person who ever really seemed extremely pop culture oriented would be oh my god, Tahani and Blake Bortles guy, the guy who loves Blake Bortles. They always talk about like Xbox and Jaguars, and she talks about the hip actor she was hanging out with. The other two would talk about basic stuff like, oh, am I a good person? Am I this? Am I that? And then whatever. But Michael, the name guy, or the fake lawyer man who's in everything, who's Michael's boss or whatever, would come in and they would make quippy one-liners about.
Isn't he supposed to be
and,
like the
pop
head
culture.
demon or something right now?
Yeah. They would make like these like pop culture references from like maybe a decade ago or like 5 years ago as something that like, you know, obviously we would all know, versus this newer season. It's all stuff that like happened. Like, it feels like it happened a week ago. Like, Chidi and Eleanor would be talking in this bar, and they're talking about like the political standings.
But if you think about
like,
how they're living out of time, so anything they say could.
But
whenever.
I have to talk about the context of like,
because they've even made references to Leonardo da Vinci and shit like that before in the show.
well, yeah,
As like pop culture style references.
but you know what I mean? My thing is I think it would have worked back in the day as a week by week thing, because you wouldn't be able to see it. But when you get to watch it and binge it, you see the progression.
Well, yeah. Well,
a
that
lot
show's
more
made for a
stronger.
week to week thing. Oh.
Well, no, I would make the argument a lot of shows aren't made for that anymore. They know that like people might not watch it week to week to week. They're going to get dropped on Netflix.
Okay,
and
so
people will watch it.
I understand that, but I don't understand how that makes it just like heavy-handed.
I would have to rewatch it completely because, like I said, it was the last season.
You mean like
There-
the references are just heavy-handed?
Yeah, well, it's like instead of like saying it in a metaphorical sense or like tying it to some type of analogy, they're like blatantly going Orange Man bad type stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Well, you also got to
Sure.
remember in the last season too, weren't they back on Earth?
Yes.
Well, that was
And they
at
were
the end,
living.
though.
No,
I'm talking
no.
before that happened.
No,
I
on
was talking-
season 3, they were on Earth again the entire season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a season behind then?
So I might be a season behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because season 3.
Because I've been waiting for it to come out. Because I watched everything on Netflix.
Season
I
3 is
haven't
on
watched anything
Netflix.
else.
It's been on Netflix. Season 4
So-
is the one that isn't out yet.
The furthest
On
I got
Netflix,
was when
anyway.
they made the decision to spoiler for apparently maybe season 2. I don't know, or season 3 even. When they decided to send them back to Earth.
That's the end of season 2.
Yeah, that's the end of season 2.
Okay, so that's where I got, I believe. So I haven't gotten any farther. I don't think.
Mhm.
So you haven't seen them on Earth then?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I'll have to double check. So, but like I said, I'll definitely get you guys examples. It was just one of those things where it was just like, ugh, okay, I get it. It was only like 3 episodes. It wasn't like totally egregious. That's why I was going to stick with the show because I think it's really well written, beautifully acted. I love every character. I don't think there's a bad actor on that show. I really
Yeah.
don't. But like when you the good thing about the show is there's no filler. It doesn't feel like there's that filler episode, that crap.
Well, no, it's because of how they shoot it. They
I think
shoot
the
it.
seasons are only like 12 episodes, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
not that
something
long.
like
It's
that.
not that long.
They're shorter seasons than like a general like 27 episode season. And also the pace of each episode keeps it going because it's also one of that. It's a continuous story. It's not a serial.
Well, and they're
thing.
also
It's-
like 21, 22 minutes with no ads and stuff for the most part. But like I said, like with Rick and Morty, they're kind of dealing with that right now. And a lot of that's just because of the writer. And Justin Roiland's coming out with a new, he's the co-creator. He does the voice for Morty and Rick and a lot of voices on the show. He's coming out with his own thing on Hulu. And
I feel Oh, you go on. You just go on.
oh no, just it's really interesting to see this weird dynamic shift, and you really don't notice it unless you're watching each episode back to back to back to back. I think again that's why some shows might be a little detrimental to like not going by like this. I saw the episode, now I get to stew in it for a week and then come back. Like Mandalorian's a good example. It's really poorly written, and when you have a week to not like think about it and then you just come back, you're like, oh yeah, it was a great episode. But when you see one episode happen and they establish these things, and
I
then you watch the
disagree.
next episode and they go, oh, that's wrong.
I find it easier to go along with a show that's not so great if I'm watching it continuously, like 5 episodes at a time, rather than having to wait a week. Because at that point, I'm just like, I've thought about that episode way too much, and now I get to the next episode, I'm just like, well, no, this is all stupid. Like I had the issue with Picard, like because Picard has some good episodes, or at least good story plots into some of, not story plots, but some good
like ideas
in there. But then there's some episodes that are just like complete ass, and they mix them all in, and then you're just left. And then again with the pacing, with Picard's pacing, because you know you did see him in TNG and all the other Trek stuff, it's a lot slower paced, and they're 40-some minutes long. And then the Picard episode is like 45 to 50-some minutes long, but it feels like it's like over like that, like in 30 minutes, because of how fast it goes, and they're not putting as much substance in each episode.
It's just action.
There's
cut.
action and beauty shots of stuff.
Spectacle, yeah.
I mean, there is some decent substance as a whole for the whole show. Like, you have to watch all, I think it's 8 episodes for you to really grab anything out of it. But I feel that that's a detriment of them doing week by week by week. Because there was a time, like, I was watching it week by week, and then I stopped at episode 4 and waited for the rest of them to just come out. Because I was like, I don't want to hate the show that I'm watching because I'm like, you know, they'll do something cool in one episode, and then the next episode it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. But okay.
So you kind of give me a point. I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate for the sake of it. I gotta ask, do you think that's not so much a like you're giving it a pass because you're not overthinking it, but you're just like, well, it's easy to just let the next one play. I'm already 4 episodes in. Let's just finish it. It's like, because we've even talked about it. There are shows I've started where I go, fuck, I hate this. I hate the show. But I'm like, I'm already halfway through. Yeah. Let's just finish it. Witcher was a good one. I watched two or three more episodes of Witcher after the episode 2, which I didn't really like the show. I really didn't like it. And then I go, but some people really like it. It's a big cultural thing. I'll keep going. And I got 3 more episodes in, and I go, I fucking hate this.
That's a
Some
show.
people might have finished it just because they're like, well, I'm already fucking 5 episodes in. Let's just finish it.
For Witcher, that was one that we watched like 1 or 2 every night or so, I think it was, to finish it out.
But I'm curious the other way around. It's like, you guys say like, well, it's the weekly thing. You're not unpacking everything that happened. So that could be.
Well, especially the way a lot of shows leave every episode on a cliffhanger nowadays. You want to jump to that next episode, which in your brain you're thinking it's gonna be better. Or it is better. You feel it's better because it's like, oh my gosh, they left it on this, so now I'm gonna watch the next one, dude. Like, because I've been trapped in shows like that, and then when I sit back after the season's over, I have to wait a year for the next season. I'm just like, well, that wasn't that great,
But like I'm saying, I didn't finish Mandalorian because they were doing it week by week. If they had dropped all 8 episodes, and I think there's a lot, always context. Always got to say there's context. If it only been 8 or 9 episodes, and they dropped them all in one day, I would have watched the whole fucking thing. Even if it like Mandalorian was 4 episodes, I'm like, this show's shit, but I'm gonna finish it. It's 8 episodes. What do I care?
I don't think
versus a 22 episode run at 45 minutes a piece. I'm like, I'm not gonna devote fucking a week to something I can't stand. I mean, I don't know. I don't
know.
There's a little bit of both.
To me, that's how I ended up getting through some shows that I've watched just by watching them back to back to back. Not necessarily because I was just like, I don't want to watch this, so I just want to get it done and over with, but because the story blended so well. But that's just me personally.
Well, because like Rick and Morty's only like 20 episodes a piece, or like Good Place is 20 episodes a piece.
I'm not even going to go
20 seconds or 20 minutes or whatever.
Right. But like if you go to like a Supergirl show, I can watch that a lot better with like 3 episodes at a time or 4 episodes at a time than just 1 at a time, just because 1 episode doesn't have a whole lot of substance to it.
Right. So, I was just thinking about that. I think it totally depends on what kind of show it is.
Right.
And overall, studies have shown people prefer to binge watch. They do. And so more stuff is being written that way to binge watch. But yeah, definitely there's certain shows like that are more like a Star Trek, where it's like it's trying to get you to think. It sets up something really well and then makes you think about it and like ask questions at the end. There's times where I'm like, I don't want to watch 3 Star Trek episodes in a row. I was like, I need to stop and think about that. Sometimes Rick and Morty is the same way, where I'm like, okay, that was really interesting. Like, I want to think about that for a little bit. Whereas something that's just fun, like you just want to keep going.
Yeah.
And that's also something where some shows are really good at creating a certain experience, a certain feel.
That make you want to continue or, take some time.
Well, especially now with like Star Trek and Star Wars stuff, it's like they can get you with like, oh, I know that looks good, or they hit you with that music, and you're like, well, I want to be, I want to be back in the world that I know, but it's like maybe it doesn't feel quite right, but I might stick around because it just feels good. I don't know.
I kind of disagree, like with the whole world thing. Like Star Wars has dealt with it. Trek is dealing with Discovery. People are like, well, that's not Star Trek, and Picard, well, that's not Next Generation. I'm like, of course it's not Next Generation.
Yeah.
It's called Picard. They're not on the ship the entire time. Okay, we can move. It's not even named after a ship like every other damn season is, you know? Every series, in many ways. But besides, the original Star Trek wasn't named after a ship either.
I'm letting you go.
But
I'm letting you go.
like Picard, like I get why things are some of the complaints I've heard from people that don't like Picard, they're like they just want the old stuff.
Yeah.
But Picard is literally taking place in the future from Next Gen, like decades from it.
Then
So
why
things
use
are
old
going to
characters?
change? Because you're bringing things back because they're still alive in the universe. Why not? Why did they bring Luke back in fucking Star Wars?
But
you know, why did they
because
bring Han
because
Solo
they wanted
back
to sell
besides
tickets
to
and
kill
it's
him?
shitty. But it's different to bring them in and then treat them like shit. I don't understand how you can bring Jean-Luc Picard.
But are
back
they
to the
treating him like
Enterprise.
shit?
Yes, because they come back to the Enterprise and they don't know his name.
They don't
The
go
guy
back to
should
the
have-
Enterprise.
When he comes back to
They never go
Starfleet,
into a Starfleet ship.
he comes
with him.
into a building to get a badge for the building, and the guy doesn't even know who he is.
It's some young person.
Oh my god!
Who
There should be
cares, like-
statue. Oh lord! Because it should be like Luke Skywalker should have statues built in his name, and like he saved the galaxy. Jean-Luc Picard is one of the most decorated Starfleet captains ever.
Admirals.
They don't know who he is. His name should be plastered everywhere. You're insane.
No,
He was literally doing an interview on a galactic, like people were pissed at him. They put him on a Fox News fucking interview like the day before, and he's all over TV and stuff. And he shows up in the office to the place where he's the most decorated veteran.
but he
and they
also
don't know who he
left.
is.
But he
And they don't know
also
who he
left.
is.
He left
Hang on.
Starfleet under negative terms. Though.
I just think it's silly. Why bring them in to defame?
I can
the old
guarantee
characters?
you,
Just don't
people
bring the
that
characters back.
I can guarantee you that people that work in the military right now don't know every single admiral, no matter how decorated they were.
I didn't say every single admiral.
No
I
matter
said
how
the most
decorated they were.
decorated.
Like, you can have the most decorated admiral. It doesn't necessarily mean that somebody that's like a freaking secretary at the office is going to know every single person.
Right.
There's no
Yeah.
possible
I
way.
can maybe,
there's-
maybe give you that.
Because just because
There's-
they're a secretary doesn't mean they've gone through training from Starfleet. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
they've learned the history of everybody. They could just be a normal. They could be an essential.
I'll give you a maybe. But again, it wasn't so much that. Like I said, he was literally on the news like the day before doing a galactic broadcast. He was a trending topic. If you want to go that route.
This is also
Not only-
this is also
I
a
feel
world
like-
though that this is also in a universe that have literally shown changelings to people that can look like somebody else.
That doesn't mean anything.
So
Because then they would attest him to be a changeling. No,
Oh,
now you're
man.
moving the goalposts. Calm down. Now you're
I'm just
changing
saying
everything.
everybody's changing everything. Yeah. It's like
Isaac,
I
save
think it's
me. What were
supposed
you
to
gonna
be
say?
it's supposed to be 30 years in the future. Let it be
Shut up.
that.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of things like that I like to give just kind of like shrug and like come up with a creative answer or solution and kind of move on. Or look at like, I mean, I haven't watched it, but did that interaction say something like, did it make the characters feel a certain way? Like, is there a reason that it's in there? You know?
Oh, it's because it's a shit on the character and his legacy. It's the point.
Well,
It's the,
If you
bring
look
it
at
back.
it that way, you
They
can
literally have a lady go sheer fucking hubris in his face, which also dropping f-bombs all over the place in Star Trek feels weird. Also,
I can imagine that. But I mean, I think because even Sir Patrick Stewart went out to say some things about how like we want to show that the world has changed. Like it is a more. It's not the shiny Federation that you saw in Next Generation. Like there's some things that are different, and he's leaning into like Brexit and some of the stuff that have gone on, and it's just like this attitude that people deal with. So, yeah, I mean, it's trying to capture that. There's a reason.
and they're
think a
building
lot of
towards the destruction of the Federation. Well, not necessarily the Federation, but Starfleet Because in like some of the books and stuff like that had been in fans and stuff like that, is Starfleet not being a thing anymore. It's being dismantled because of how corrupt it gets so much, and they do a lot of stuff by showing how corrupt Starfleet is getting right now in the Federation.
Well, I could totally see that. My thing is like I don't like this idea of drudging up iconic characters that people grew up on and changing like the way it seems strange to have this weird thing where you bring these characters back to kind of tell them they weren't as good as they thought they were. And you
I hate that.
And you see it in every franchise right now. They literally kill them off. And I think it might, like, for all I know, let me put it out there, because with Doctor Who I'm pissed off. Fuck the what they did in the final episode this year. I hate it. I hate everything about it.
I don't watch it. So I don't
know. It's fine. No, it's fine. But like I said, you don't have that context. Me, I'm not like super into Star Trek. But Jean-Luc Picard was one of the people, like, I watched TNG. I thought I found that to be good. I grew up on Jordan Forge and stuff because I loved reading Rainbow, so of course I was going to follow LeVar Burton and stuff. It maybe as a Star Trek fan, this kind of feels a potential natural progression, maybe. But for me, it feels like more of the same when it comes to dismantling a franchise and iconic, legendary characters.
Which happens right now in Data. But that type of thing happens right now in our world. We're seeing people that, like fucking Cosby was so praised, and
but don't do that though, because that's escapism. And
Weinstein.
Then maybe that works for you, but at the end of the day, it's like everybody remembers storytelling to be either a way to comment on social constructs or be escapism, or a little smattering of both, which I think things like Star Trek, great example, Rick and Morty, those were a good place, obviously does it. These weird dichotomy clashing of social dissonance, South Park, social commentary meets storytelling meets whatever. It's the problem is like, if you're going to move the story forward, do you have to dismantle the legacy of a character to do so?
Well, I think that's what that's just how a lot of people think right now. And it comes to deconstructing, which has been around for a while. Academically, it was around since, like, I don't know, 50s or some 1950s or something. But this idea of like, oh, we're going to deconstruct it. And so you see that with a lot of things where people say like, oh, well, you thought Abraham Lincoln was a great president. Well, did you know that he actually did this one racist thing in this one day? And you're like, okay, he wasn't perfect. That should not be news to anybody. It's like, oh, George Washington is on the $1 bill, but he owned slaves. It's like, yes, he was a flawed human being, but he also did a lot of great stuff. And so I think that's where a lot of people are kind of stuck in deconstructing, where they say like, oh, you think this thing is great. Well, now I'm going to take it apart and show how it's not that great. But the problem with deconstructing is like, you just are left with pieces. Like you're just always taking things apart.
Which I like that example right there that you were talking about.
That was great. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Which they actually, I think that goes into play with the entire season of Picard, because you see him being, like John was saying, like they kind of try and tear him down. But by the end, you see Picard building back up to who Picard was known for. How he behaved and everything, because he even says it himself, I've just been waiting to fucking die, basically, in the show at one period.
Wow. Which so doesn't feel like something he would say.
Exactly. That's the point. It's supposed to be like the older, he's just given up, basically. He's just ready to go, whatever. Because everything has betrayed him in his life. Starfleet, that's the way he worked for forever, and it betrayed him.
But we don't have to write that, though. Okay, no, I'll let you finish. Because I do have...
They do have something throughout the season, like not that there's many episodes to show it in, but by the time they get to the end, it's been him building back into like the Picard that that's going to stand up for what's right, rather whether Starfleet does or not. Again,
he has a triumphant comeback to the man he was. Okay.
Yeah, basically they bring him back to where he was, even though they started him off being like John says they kind of shit on him. And they do. There's several moments where I'm just like, really?
Well, they literally blow him up like at the beginning, like he gets blasted back 50 feet and we kind of forget he's an 80-year-old man.
Yeah.
Like he would have died.
I think he's supposed to be in his 90s in the show.
But still, you know what I mean? Like he took that blast like
Well, I'm saying it's even worse because
like literally like he looked like he like like it was insane.
It's movie magic.
Well, my
he transported out of there into a bed.
You know, I do think, Mike, I mean, like the original Wrath of Khan was kind of like that, where the first, well, actually a lot of that movie is about how Captain Kirk accepted being an admiral and he's not happy. And Bones tells him like becoming an admiral and getting off of a ship was the worst decision you ever made. And so it's kind of like Kirk rediscovering being a captain, and Kirk actually makes a lot of mistakes in that movie. I mean, Wrath of Khan in a way deconstructs, I don't want to overuse that word, the original series, because the original series is Captain Kirk always figures out a solution. Like Americans, our ingenuity, our hard work, our smarts, we're always going to figure out a way.
He was the original space cowboy too.
Or it's, exactly, right. Whether it's diplomacy or it's a fist fight or it's like sleeping with the alien, like we're gonna figure it out.
I'm gonna figure out where it goes.
In Wrath of Khan is like all these years have come by, and you know what? It didn't actually work out. Like Kirk stranded Khan and his people on that planet, and it went terrible. And now he's back for revenge, and it was sort of like there's just not an easy fix to everything, Kirk. And so I would say even the best Star Trek movie is in that same idea of saying, like, you know what? Life is not as easy as we originally said it was. All
right. I can give you that.
And I haven't watched Picard, but I do think what I'm hearing is there's already some precedent for that stuff of the captain who leaves the ship and now he feels like he is nothing, you know.
So
I mean, he literally doesn't have his crew that he lived with for, the entire time we saw him. So his character would automatically end up being different too from where we've seen him, where he was always with these same people.
Yeah. So, okay. So now follow me, boys, on this journey.
Well, no spoilers either, because we don't want to spoil it for
Yeah.
I've been trying not to say certain things.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I love what you both said. Especially with the deconstructing and the ideology of like maybe looking for flaws in these characters that we maybe have presumed to be perfect or whatever. Choose your own adventure word.
Now, I can't say that goes for every show because I haven't seen Doctor Who. I was about to say Doctor Strange, but still.
I actually really just want to touch on this with your guys' ideals, because all three of us watch different stuff. But some of the same stuff that shows some of the same ideology and stuff. Do you find, like, so when it comes to the deconstructing of a character, I find it, and this is me, I don't like the idea that we need to find certain characters that have surpassed generations and inspired people. I don't find the value in deconstructing those iconic characters. I think the idea of keeping somebody quote unquote perfect in their mythos, I think there's a really strong value in that. And I think the problem is we've seen these characters that we idolize as humans looking into another medium being brought down to our level is very disheartening. It kind of removes that hope and that light, that thing we always wanted to strive for. Superman. Yes. I like the idea of Superman being the non-flawed Boy Scout from Kansas, because Batman was the flawed foil to him. Even though he wasn't a villain, he was the foil. Picard, unwavering, strong, knew what he was doing. Kirk, I would always say he was the bad boy. I wouldn't say he was perfect, but we understand kind of who he was. But you have somebody like the Doctor. The Doctor was flawed.
Yeah.
I don't think he was ever considered perfect, but you have Luke Skywalker was damn near perfect. He even brought the darkest guy back with the power of a family and stuff. And I think bringing those people down to our level and kind of taking away this iconic, it's like the idea of taking maybe a religious figure. Since I have Mahoney, I'm going to kind of push it into that realm.
Okay.
The idea is if like we almost try to cancel culture Jesus or Buddha or somebody like that to retell the story, to bring him down and give him more flaws, to make him more quote unquote relatable, I think could be detrimental to the story that was first brought in. And I get that you want to continue the story, but why do we need to destroy the legacy rather than maybe just saying, hi, the legacy is still here, we're going to move forward beyond it, versus like we're going to just use it. So that because I think Star Wars could have brought back all those people, and they could have, like, you know, Leia and Han could have been happily married with a kid, hanging out with Chewie as the pet dog, and Luke was training Jedi somewhere, and we just moved forward. And we just moved forward. They all said, hi, hey, what's going on? We are still alive, but bye, have fun.
Yeah. I think a great example of what you're talking about would be Game of Thrones. That's for a couple of reasons. One is that people are like, oh, it's like Lord of the Rings. It's like, yeah, but you know what? Instead of just kind of like writing a sequel and been like, actually, Aragorn is a horrible person, blah, blah, blah. He didn't, and it doesn't do that. He's like,
he beat his children.
I'm going to create my own world, and I'm going to tell my own story about how complicated this actually is. No one is actually all good or all evil, blah, blah, blah. So I think Jaime Lannister, particularly, is a great example of like the White Knight. On the outside, he's like the White Knight character, right? And yet, as the story goes along, you just think, man, this guy is a jerk. Like,
well, I'd actually make the argument they went the other way around.
Hang on.
Oh,
it starts with him. The first episode, book was pretty early, but the first episode, he pushes a kid out the window.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, here's the golden boy. Oh, never mind. He's a huge jerk. But then as time goes on, like you get that reversal, right? So you get like the deconstruction and then like a reconstruction of this icon. Right? All within that world. So I would say like that's really good. But what I hate about George R.R. Martin is the stuff he says about Lord of the Rings. He says the dumbest crap.
He really does.
I haven't heard nothing, so
it pisses me off. Yeah. He'll say like, oh, well, in Lord of the Rings, it's so simple. It says Aragorn became king and then the land was prosperous. Well, why? What was his tax policy that made it prosperous? And I'm like, that's where I agree with you, John, is like, dude, you're missing the point. Like, it's not the Lord of the Rings is not like a blueprint for how to run society. It's saying something about character. It's saying something about leadership, and take it as a story, take it as inspiration, a fable, and don't try to, this is where I agree with you, John. Like, don't try to make it 100% real. Recognize what it's trying to do.
Yeah. So I love that inspiration of fable. Let me touch on that because I agree with you and I disagree with you at the same time with the George R.R. Martin thing. I think using that, what was Aragorn's tax policy and how did the realms actually work, as a criticism, I think is unfair. I think it's absolutely unfair to that story because that's not the story they were telling.
Yeah.
Using that ideology in his mind for the inspiration to make Game of Thrones, I think set up a very brilliant world. The idea of putting that Lord of the Rings fantasy, but making it dark and realistic and going, people are underhanded and because you make the idea, like, if you really wanted to put a Game of Thrones twist on Lord of the Rings, you could do it. It's like, who's going to undermine Aragorn? You know, because you had Grey Worm fucking screwing up Rohan and stuff. And it's like, you could have had that going on in all the realms and stuff. And sorry, if you're not a Lord of the Rings nerd, this is
Worm tongue. Grey Worm is in Game of Thrones.
Sorry,
get out of here.
Damn
you
it.
noob trash.
Fuck. Damn it. That was a fuck up. God damn it. Yeah, Michael, if you watch the other two movies, you'd know what I was talking about.
No,
and you could be making fun of me too.
I'm good.
And you could be making fun of me too.
I can make fun of you even without it.
Yeah, fair enough. You slack-jawed yokel. I like the idea of using that that inspiration of looking into a storyline and going, I'm going to make my own thing. But imagine if he wanted to tell that story and then like if The Hobbit ended up being Game of Thrones and you brought in Legolas and Aragorn and you dismantled these characters and did
That'd be awful. That'd be awful.
But you know what I mean? That's what it feels like when I watch things like Star Trek Discovery or Picard or the new Doctor Who. It feels like they took all these characters, brought them in, and they said, I don't give a shit about what they told before. I'm just going to use these characters to prove my point and tell the story I want to tell. That's what I felt like with Last Jedi. Like I always tell people, when it comes to the sequel trilogy for Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker is probably a worse movie. It's a piece of shit. It's like the most jarbled mess I've ever seen in my life. But Last Jedi was a malicious attack on fandom. Like that's what it felt like.
It was deconstructing. It was completely the whole movie was deconstructing. Like Kylo Ren says, like the Jedi, the Sith, let it die.
Well,
right?
Luke says it. He's like, "I'll fuck them all," and it's like, Luke, I fucking get it. Like, okay, fine, the Jedi suck. It's fine, but like, the bad guys are actually blowing up like 5 planets. Could you just like fuck off and come help us?
Yes, that is the problem with this. And I think the last time we talked about this, I had this too. When it's like, ooh, the good guys really aren't that good, are they? It's like, yes.
We can fight ideology.
The bad guy is like eating babies.
I still find it funny though that like both the good guy and the bad guy both have the same agenda of getting rid of both the Sith and the Jedi. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, you're literally fighting for the same thing.
Yeah, it's so insane. The sequel trilogy is such a jarbled mess. But like I said, like maybe the shows. I think the thing is that you set a seed of plague inside of your show by bringing back nostalgic characters. If you would have just made the show first and then brought the character in to interact with the already pre-established characters, that could have been more fun versus going, hey, let's start right off with our guy just to get people to show up and go, we don't give a shit about the people we fucking baited for this character. Right. We're going to tell our own story.
Let me jump in on something with Luke Skywalker here, because this was a prediction I made when I saw the trailer. I was like, oh no.
Force Awakens, Last Jedi, or Rise?
Last Jedi. Yeah. So, historically speaking, especially as a person of faith, there's the question of, okay, the Christian church has done a lot of bad things historically, particularly the years where the Catholic Church had a lot of power.
Or was that Catholic?
Yeah, you have a lot of death and torture and bad things. So, but there's the question of like, do you burn it to the ground or do you reform it? And Martin Luther was one of the most influential people in history.
Oh yeah, that black guy
was a Catholic monk, right? He said like, wow, we've gotten a lot of things wrong. And so what did he do? He went back to the original and said like, what is this supposed to be? Like, let's sort of hit reset and try to do everything right. And that's where you got Protestantism. That's where you got the Reformation, which is basically all these Christians leaving the Catholic Church saying, we think you guys have gotten away from what this faith is supposed to be about.
It's like a vegan versus a vegetarian.
Right.
I'm sorry.
What?
I don't know. I'm just being an asshole. I'm sorry.
And that's why when I looked at Star Wars in the books and the EU and stuff that came out, Luke Skywalker was more of a reformer, where he said, okay, the Jedi are going to continue, but we're going to get rid of some things. We're going to get rid of the ban that Jedi can't get married because that doesn't make any sense. And those kind of things, right? It was sort of a new Jedi Order where it kept the essentials, but it adjusted things.
Which fucking, especially if midichlorians are part of the bloodline, and you know that, why would you, like a fucking Jedi would almost promote, fuck everything that moves. Like, if midichlorians are a thing, yes, make the bloodline strong. What is wrong with it? Okay, sorry.
Right. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, and that's when I saw like the trailer for Last Jedi, I was like, oh no, they're not going to let Luke be a reformer like a Martin Luther. He's going to be like a burn it to the ground kind of person.
Malcolm X.
And it was like, so I wish.
Jedi power.
Wrong Martin Luther, dude.
I know, I'm making a joke. Is nobody fucking getting that? I'm making a joke.
I'm just saying.
God damn it.
Don't confuse other people that...
I'm just trolling. I'm sorry. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
jeez.
I'm a bad
But
man.
okay, so there's that point. And another question I have, maybe this is time for another podcast, is: are we harder on stories that are being written rather than ones that were written over time but are completed? For example, when we watch Star Wars, the original 3 movies that were made, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, I think we give that more generosity than we do a series that's coming out right now. And we're like, ooh, I wonder how they're going to write the ending. Are they going to do this? Are we going to do that? Maybe they could go all in these ways. Versus in the past, it's like, oh, there's already 3 of these. Well, right, it's done. I'm going to see what they did with it.
I think the issue comes in with what lore has already been built into the universe when they're writing to add on to it.
Yeah.
A lot of people love the universe, love the lore. Like, I got pissed off so bad at the Hobbs and Shaw movie because it ruins like almost everything.
No, it's really
in the Fast
bad.
and Furious, and it's
just
movie.
a bad film.
Yeah.
And it's just a bad movie.
But it takes 2 characters from a franchise we've already have established, and it doesn't even like try. It just, they're completely different from the get-go.
They made a Rock movie versus a Fast
I mean,
and Furious
even
movie.
Kevin Hart shows up into it, so he's apparently canon in the Fast and Furious now.
Oof.
Oh, man.
So Isaac, you know what? No, I'm gonna go with this because I like this. I like this discussion. This is something that Michael and I harp on constantly, and we go back and forth. I think Michael, you nailed it. There's a difference between extending lore and like. I don't think the original trilogy gets a pass. I think now we're smarter now. I think at least when it comes to media consumption, people understand. Everybody wants to be a Twitch streamer.
Just so we're
Everybody
clear,
wants to
the
be a
original
YouTuber.
trilogy was with Jar Jar Binks, right? That's the best
Yes.
one, right? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on.
And Jake Lloyd.
There we go.
This is that's what I call pod racing. That was episode 1. Duh.
Who the fuck starts a series off with episode 4? Come on, gosh.
To be fair, that didn't happen. And go ahead, Isaac.
George Lucas did not have a plan. He did not know what he was doing. He didn't.
Right.
Also,
I know.
episode 4. It wasn't called episode 4 until very later on. To be fair.
What did they
It was
bring
still
it out
stupid.
as? Just like Star Wars: A New Hope?
It was just Star Wars.
Okay.
Because they weren't making sequels.
Okay.
It was just Star Wars. And then I believe when they decided to make the sequel, they added A New Hope and then put subtitles on. And then
I listened to the podcast of how like that all came together, and I was very surprised. Like, his original story for that was stupid as shit, and no one ever would watch it.
It's like me with Swordsman. Every 5 years, even though I understand that the film I made is very amateur and kind of shit, every year I have to.
Oh no,
add
his
something
plot
to it
for
to
the
make it feel better.
original of what would have been Star Wars is just horrible.
Sorry, Isaac, I love you. No, my thing is that you start messing with established lore. It feels bitter. But also on top of that, I would make the argument when it comes to,
I think
what?
I think someone fucked with my mixer when I wasn't here.
Gross. What are you baking? What are you talking about?
No,
Like your
the
kitchen?
audio mixer. So my levels
sorry.
are going to be all screwed up.
Yeah.
No, I think nowadays people are very, very hyper aware of media. Because like I said, people want to be YouTubers. People want to do Twitch. People want to do these things. So they understand Photoshop. They understand editing, even on a basic level. Dude, Isaac, when me and Drew were sitting in his apartment or in his parents' house, cutting on Windows Movie Maker, on a mini DV tape.
Yeah, that was painful.
It's awful. And nowadays it's like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna take it off my phone and do an app, and I'll push it here, and I can just upload. I can shoot it, upload it, and edit it all on YouTube.
Yes.
And people understand. Everybody, I would be hard pressed to find anybody who doesn't try to do a stream. And again, back to the coronavirus, can't fucking get off it. I'm so sorry. We go back full circle. like you and psychiatrists and teachers and stuff all having to work from home, they're buying lighting kits. I don't give a shit what people say. They're buying lighting kits and microphones and
You
learning how to
can't
edit.
get a webcam for at least 2-3 weeks, dude.
Jeez, man.
But that's what I'm saying, man. So I think
Yeah.
people are very hyper aware of how things happen now. And I think the problem is that Hollywood turned this into a product rather than a storytelling experience or anything like that. They're like, we just need to pump shit out. We need product. We need to saturate the market. Where at the end of the day, I think if I've learned anything in the last few years, everybody's going back and watching old shit. Everybody's watching old stuff. Everybody. They're going back. The people who are watching all the new stuff and making reviews are people who hate their lives. they're like
Or
mad at themselves.
they just need the clicks.
But you know what I
'Cause,
mean? They
you
get
know.
mad at themselves because they're like, oh, there's not enough time to do all this. And it's like, man, I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to wait till my show comes out and I'm going to watch that.
Yeah.
It's
It
detrimental.
is stuff that stood the test of time. No, I mean, I agree with you. I think there's certain things that where Star Wars is a perfect example. They totally mishandled it. Star Wars will be an example of how not to continue.
40 years, dude. You don't retell a story from 40 years ago.
Well, that's
unless
why
it's good.
I think they
They had
did
no
good
plan.
when they did Rogue One because they didn't screw with anything else that we knew of.
Yes.
They
Yep.
didn't touch on any characters, nothing.
But I also I hate to be an asshole, but the only thing that people really talk about is all the Darth Vader shit.
No,
The best
I
scene's the
actually
end.
I
No, they
love
talk about it.
I like the actual movie. The ending is cool. It's a cool fight scene, but then when you watch it with the Star Wars movies, you're just like, why isn't he jumping around and kicking people and fucking them or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, I think it's the biggest complaint of the first Star Wars film is like Obi-Wan Darth Vader is not as epic as it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. You didn't know that you could do that shit?
No.
John,
For anybody who doesn't know, but my mind just got fucking blown. We're on Zoom, obviously. So, add another point to the stock market. Isaac had to go take a tinkle. And he bailed out, and all of a sudden I just got an alert. It said in our chat, he dropped us a little text message. Sorry, Isaac. Everybody knows you're peeing now. I didn't realize you could do that.
Yeah.
I just throw up a finger and go, I put up like a masturbation signal and I just bail out.
Peace.
Well, I didn't know that. That's fucking funny. That's fucking hilarious. I'm trying to think. Storytelling is storytelling. The good stuff will transcend the other stuff will just peter out and we'll forget about all of it.
Peter out.
God, could you imagine me named Peter? That would suck. I'm sorry. I mean, my name's John. I'm a toilet, so fucking deal with it. So what else you got, man? Or what's the? God, there's a lot of things. I think
There's a lot of
we can get,
things we could probably go for another one later.
Yeah, I'm thinking any last ones for you? Anything you got floating around that we can maybe jump on?
I do, but I think it would take so long to go through it because.
Well, just throw them out. I'll make fun of you if it's stupid.
Well, I wanted Isaac on this one. Let me see. Let me think here. Well, we did Dexter. We did that. Well, I finally watched Train to Busan.
Ooh, awesome.
Love it. And then I just saw the trailer for the sequel, so that looks pretty dope. It's like the first one they had barely any money, so then it was just on one thing. And now it's like a whole fucking town, and we're going all Resident Evil on it.
Oh, 28 days versus 28 weeks later. You know how it is.
It took them 28 weeks to get the budget in.
There you go. I like it.
I think the last thing I got to finish up with is what everyone's memeing right now, fucking Tiger King.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious. So you both have watched this.
Yes.
Have you watched the entire thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so I would love to fly on the wall for this one because I have not.
Okay.
To be fair, you guys know me. I'm all over the internet all the time. I have a couple of friends who fucking send everything at me constantly.
Yeah.
About the biggest thing. So I have bits and pieces. I understand some of the memes, but I have not seen a fucking episode. I want to watch you two talk about it.
It's
I need it.
Interesting because I almost worked on this thing.
Okay. So I'm assuming it happened in Florida then.
It's Texas and Florida, or not Texas, Oklahoma and Florida. I mean, it's all over the place actually.
Known for bombing.
But the chick who feather husband to the Tigers,
Carol
Baskin. She's in
spoilers.
Tampa. They don't know. She never got arrested for it.
OJ.
Yeah.
OJ. How'd she do it?
Also before I forget, guys, from the last episode, I know OJ's out of jail. I was just like,
yeah, you
in
fucking
the moment.
idiot.
I was in the moment, and yeah. Anyways, yeah, she's in Tampa. I actually met her when we did Trailer Park Boys at her facility. So
you're still alive. That's a good sign.
She didn't feed me to the Tigers, so that was good. But yeah, do you want to start off, man, Isaac? What are your thoughts? Because I'm
well,
just like,
somebody. I don't know shit. Can somebody explain this to me?
All right,
this documentary is about everything except the fucking animals, which it should have been about. It was originally set out to be about that.
Yeah,
Isaac, give me your synopsis.
Here's maybe a great preview of just how nuts this is. I was talking with my brother about it, and I was like, "Dude, you got to watch this show."
And
He's
go
like, "It's
spoilers,
crazy."
please. For the
and
love
he
of
said,
God.
"Well, okay,
Go
I have to know
spoilers.
this.
Okay.
Yes, I have to know about this.
You gotta watch
No,
it.
do it.
It's 8
Do it.
episodes, I think, right? It's
Spoil the shit out of it because I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch it. But
go spoilers then."
yes, go.
Okay. So I told him, I was like, "You gotta watch the show," and he said, yeah, somebody spoiled it for me, so I don't think I'll watch it."
how do you can't
I
really
said,
spoil
"What did
it.
they
It's a
tell you?"
documentary.
She fed him to the Tigers.
Right.
Apparently,
And
you guys
that's
spoiled
exactly
everything.
what he said. He's like, "Oh, well, I heard the one lady feeds him to a tiger."
That's one
And I was
episode.
like, yeah.
But I have to get there.
I was
It's
like,
the
dude,
journey.
It's the second
the
episode,
journey.
dude.
I was like,
It's
dude,
the journey.
that is backstory to one person.
Yeah.
That is like one of like 6 to 10 things at that level of crazy that happens. So like, because one of like 10 crazy things is not a reason to skip the show. Like bizarre.
So initial watch or don't watch.
Watch. I say watch.
Watch the shit out of it.
Oh,
All right, cool.
It does lose its point instantly. Like the guy who set out to make it was making it for the animals originally, but then he
So
found
it's like a documentary.
he found these people that were just that's what it became about, the people, not the animals, unfortunately. So I'm actually in the description, I'm going to drop some links to a couple of animal charities too, because I don't feel right talking about it.
No, I got you. ASAPCA
And, yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So
So
I don't know.
definitely check those out.
I would say probably the biggest help it does do for animals is I'm definitely going to think about where I go,
Yeah.
and if
Like
am
with
I
SeaWorld
going
and
to
zoos and
like,
shit.
am I going to a zoo that actually like cares about the animals or just exploiting them?
And if
You
your
know, so
wife
I'm-
decides to buy a tiger, you better make sure you got an insurance policy that's not going to give her the money if you disappear.
Yeah. If she's like, "Honey, I think your will should say like upon my death or disappearance," let's just throw the disappear word in there.
Dude.
Like,
It literally,
Mysteriously disappeared.
that's literally what was in his will. Her
Was
husband
it?
in his will, yeah. He was like a billionaire, dude. He was worth like, I think they finally settled on like 10 to 20, I think.
Jesus.
something like that.
And
yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
disappeared. People were talking like they were supposed to be going through a divorce. They were going to do all this. It's very dramatized, of course, but I mean, she totally fucking killed her husband.
It sounds like a really drawn out episode of like Forensic Files.
This was only in one episode, dude. It was only they only
Oh
talked
my
about it in one
God.
episode.
That's why it's like a little bit of so many different things. It's like part reality show of
Yeah.
just crazy people.
'Cause-
Like a Kardashians or something. It's like part like that. It's part like making of a murderer.
Yeah.
Like what is this weird crime
Jeez.
going
It's
on?
everything, and like the guy, the Tiger King himself, like there's so much footage of him because they were shooting the documentary with him, but they were also shooting a reality show for him too at the same time. So there's like footage of everything. There's a chick that ends up getting her arm bit off by a tiger. They say they have the footage, but they didn't put that in the thing. But I read interview with that girl. Well, technically him, because he wants to be called him. He said that,
or it's called I Am.
They used that footage after that for training videos, for safety training and stuff, of him getting his arm bit off and stuff. Here's the thing, John. He could have kept his arm. Could have kept his arm for. It would have been 2 years of rehab. And he's like, nah, cut it off. He's like, cut it off.
What?
He's like, just cut it. Just take it. And then they went back to work in the damn things, dude.
Yeah.
He went back to work with them.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, so overall, this is what's going on. There's basically like 3 different characters that have animals. The main guy, the Tiger King,
four
is Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I shared.
Exotic.
I shared Joe Exotic's YouTube page in our group page. If anyone wants to check out his shit.
And this guy is just like, he's almost like a Mad Gab of a reality TV star.
Okay.
If you're just like,
he's like
okay,
the gay
what
Joe
should he
Dirt.
be?
Oh, okay. I can feel that. Yeah.
It's like, oh, he should have this weird high-pitched Southern accent, and he should have a mullet, and he should be gay. Oh, but he should have 2 husbands who are actually straight. Oh, and maybe he does drugs, and like just like any.
He's
of
like
those tigers,
Siegfried and Roy if he grew up in a trailer park.
He did run for president against Trump too, so
that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, if I totally would have known that, I think I would have voted for that guy.
You fucking would have. Oh my god. So, guys, everything you're describing to me feels like a fucking cartoon. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like
you start watching it, and like after I think 10, 15 minutes, you just want to keep watching everything. Like you just got to. At that point, I ended up watching it all in one day, not one sitting. I did take breaks, but just knocked it out.
Wow.
But it was like from the morning to the after. Like I started at like 9 in the morning, and I think I stopped at like 3 or 4 maybe.
well, he's also like homeschooling his
Yeah, I was
kids at the same
homeschooling,
time.
so I'm like, I have to
poor
be
man.
around.
Yeah. I think we watched a couple episodes a night over like 3 days or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, fucking Laura watched that with you?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
she
God.
chose it. Yeah.
My wife would not.
She
watch that.
chose it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
You're lucky.
Oh yeah. We were like talking about people. I was like, oh yeah, like that guy's a narcissist and something like that. So
Yeah.
it was
Oh, there was even
dude,
a setup in this thing. It's everything. It has everything. Because there was a
That's right.
setup. Like they set him up, and then they had like the FBI
Like for fraud or like to murder him?
for murder. They
Fuck!
they set him up to make it. This is where it gets confusing, and they're still going through court and stuff with this stuff to try and like arrest other people that are in the documentary, which is even
Oh my
funnier.
god.
But from what I gathered, it seemed like he wanted to kill the lady who killed her husband, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Because she gave so much shit to his facility, even though they're on different sides of the country. It doesn't make sense. But she's an animal rights activist type thing.
Murder and love know no borders,
And
my man.
like, you know how you talk, like not you talk, but like in movies.
Yeah, it's me every day.
In movies, they show people talking, but like, dude, we should kill that chick. Or
Yeah,
you know.
I'll fuck a person
I
up
think
every
Horrible
day.
Bosses is the perfect example.
Oh, that's funny.
Where they're like, we should kill our boss or whatever, you know. Well, they kind of do that talk and stuff like that. They don't have that on camera though. But it felt to me like they set him up to have him saying that stuff and paying somebody to use that as a setup to get him in jail. And of course, that's what they say it in the documentary, I think, too, loosely. But there's so many wrong things with it. Like,
and you guys watched the shit out of this.
he
didn't
paid
you?
the guy $3,000. $3,000 supposedly
The fuck?
to go and kill her, right? The guy admitted to taking the money to go and kill her, but he didn't do it. He's not in jail for taking money to kill somebody. How is that right? How? What?
Right, and it definitely got suspicious when you kind of have this one faction that's like, oh, the cops, they're gonna overlook everything we've done wrong because we're gonna come forward,
Right?
But they're like trying to help set up, and so it just kind of.
And this all happened.
It's shady.
And
it's totally shady.
This all happened after the cops tried to pull a sting on him by like sending like a fake guy in there to see, hey, do you want me to kill her? How much? And they went back and forth, but he never gave the cops money, so they couldn't do shit to him. And so then all of a sudden they have the one guy that supposedly received money for killing. I'm like, and they're not getting arrested or nothing. And so it's very conspiracy theory documentary, bro.
Yeah. And the other part is like, these people are so like redneck and out there.
Yeah,
like
just
some of
in
these
their own
interviews,
world.
Yeah.
there's a dude like sitting in his tub, like shirtless, just like talking to the camera. And it's just like, what?
That's the guy that was going to kill the girl, too. That's
the hitman.
My
guy.
hands are on my face. I'm in disbelief.
And then one
right
of his husbands, the whole documentary, the one husband was just sitting in the chair, like just in pants. That's it. He was like, had his shirt on. I'm like, who chose this shot? Like,
I like how you said he's just in pants. I'm like, I wear pants right now. Like, why is that weird?
just
And you're
pants,
like,
though.
No, just pants.
Just pants. He had his like nipple rings showing, everything, and
Guys.
had like no teeth, and it was like hillbilly Jerry Springer to like the max, bro.
All right, why you guys got to call me out like that? I can't like, and you guys, like I'm so like my brain. How many episodes?
I think it's 8, right?
I think. I
How
don't know.
long? Like
40
like 30
minutes, 45 minutes each.
And you guys actively watch this. I have to know why.
It's a reality show, and so
That's
really
not
is.
an excuse, Isaac. Why?
But it's also a documentary. Oh man,
that doesn't help either. What like who woke up one day you're like fucking Tiger King, I'm watching this.
I did.
Well,
I
you
just,
said
like,
Laura, so it's her fault. So Michael, so you made that choice then.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like
You guys are-
watching a reality show that Trauma Entertainment made up. It was so
yeah. I like documentaries, dude. Like I like learning about that stuff, and especially just crazy stuff like Wild Wild Country. I don't know if you guys watched that about like the cult in the 80s.
No,
That was insane.
There was this one on Netflix that Hannah made me watch. There's this like really awkward dude who goes around to like the most like uncomfortable, like creepy places. Like he'll go to like Nazi memorabilia places run by like a really like fascist guy, or like he went to like this weird like it was like a weird like torture house. Like people actually go to be tortured for like a day. He'll go to these things. I can't remember what they're called. I'll double check for next week or something. Hannah made me watch 2 episodes and I can't do it. Like I'm very, it made me really uncomfortable, and I was just like, man, like it's interesting. It's really neat to kind of to get like an inner look at your fellow man, quote unquote.
Yeah,
but it's also really disturbing to go like, yeah, those people are there.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
And they look not all of them.
They look normal.
Like, you know what I mean? But like, they look like you could go to Walmart.
Right.
And the idea that you like sit there and you like see that and you're just like, it really messes with my brain. You guys are animals.
Here's the other thing, is that I like about documentaries that I really like is it's taking time to look back after the fact, and they've interviewed a bunch of people and they've like kind of put the story together and they've gathered some facts. A lot of our news is like, oh, yesterday so-and-so was arrested and maybe they did this, or they were accused of this.
Assuming versus retroactive.
Right. And there's some of the stuff where I'm just like, we're not going to know for probably like 5 years what actually happened here. But like the documentary, there's like, and you're interviewing like all these different people and all sides of the story, right? Yeah. And then you're kind of putting it together in an interesting way, like a narrative way, it's like that's really interesting.
Well, it's the idea of being a historian versus being, somebody being a psychic. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
listen to a historian talk about things that we should know and or that have been versus somebody who obviously is probably talking out of their ass. Is a completely different experience.
Yeah.
So that's it. You guys are fucking weird.
Dude,
Both of you.
I will tell you this right now. Go watch Tiger King.
Okay, fair enough.
It feels like this show was supposed to be like an anthology documentary series because every episode it's
So, like, we're
something
gonna have
different.
So like next year it's gonna be Dolphin King, and then we're gonna have
Bro.
Dolphin King, and then Monkey King.
This show. Oh
Y'all are
man,
fucking badass people. You're bad people.
there's
both of
stuff in there that. Oh, the cult dude. There was a
No.
cult guy from like
No.
Ohio, right?
Doc Antle.
Doc Ant.
and
Yeah.
his like
Who,
weird
Kenny?
like sex
He had
cult
like
thing.
9 wives or some shit, and like
From
they all
Ohio.
lived on one property. It was like they had their own commune. It was a commune,
Yes.
and
So he's
they
from
had
Ohio.
houses there,
I
and
don't know where.
he lived. They all had their own house, and but there was like it was all women. He made them change their names. Bro, like legally change their names to like
Well,
these
I
like
mean-
more fancier like exotic names and stuff for him.
Well, good. At least he understands his position.
And then
I'm so kidding.
what was the other one? Oh, there was a guy who had supposedly been arrested for cutting another dude up. Right? Was that the other
Look,
like
we all
the
have
drug
our
dealer
hobbies.
guy?
Stop-
Remember the drug
Stop
dealer
kink
guy?
shaming me.
It took
I don't
forever
remember.
to get to his property because his property was guarded.
You were just talking about
okay.
this so matter of factly. This is fucking my world up. I got it. Like, guys,
These are
can
real
we-
people.
I know. It's
Like I've always said, if there's a movie or TV show about it, it probably happened. I'm just throwing it out there. So I guess
these are people that truly do need Jesus.
we need.
they do. They need Jesus.
What a great ending, Michael. That was wonderful. Please tell me you have a quote.
I have
Yeah.
a quote.
Because damn it, before we go,
Yeah.
Michael's gonna hit us with the quote. I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep.
John's gonna go watch
Isaac-
Tiger King. You can't watch it on your phone. It doesn't count if you watch it on your phone.
That's horseshit. Also,
That's
I
a
mean,
callback.
Tiger-
Come on.
That's tiger shit. Isaac, I wanna thank you for coming on.
Yes,
I really,
thank
really
you.
appreciate it. It's been nice.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Every time you're on, you bring a fun perspective,
And you cleanse our souls because we really need.
Yes, I feel like to be completely honest, I feel like this is more of a confession for me rather than a friendly chat. Wonderful as always. Hope to have you back soon. Just let us know, and hopefully the audience loves you as much. And I guess
Thanks, man.
Quote
Yeah,
time.
I enjoy being on. I enjoy talking about it anytime.
all right.
All right.
Keep that beard clean, and Michael, hit us with what you got.
Yeah.
Quote
Let's hear it.
from Jean-Luc Picard.
Fucking course.
And it's not from the Picard show.
Oh,
Chill out.
still.
At least I don't think it doesn't
Still,
say
I
it
wasn't
is.
gonna care.
Damn.
It's fine.
Fuck. Why you gotta be a ageist? and
I just hate
old
the French.
people.
I just hate the French. That's all it
The
was.
French the one French guy who doesn't have a French accent.
Hey,
Everything of that.
it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
All right, quote from Jean-Luc Picard, and hopefully this will work after all this pandemic shit happens.
Oh man.
The acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force of our lives. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.
Boom.
Buy Bitcoin. Later, nerds. Sky's the limit.
You just finished another great episode of Operation Babble. You can catch every episode of Operation Babble on all your audio streaming services, including SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, and more. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Operation Babble. And join the conversation today by searching for the Operation Babble group on Facebook. Links also in the description. Don't forget to find Myke on all social platforms, including YouTube, by searching Myke Shrews, MYKESHREWS. You can find John on Instagram and YouTube via Bald Man Bad. Thanks and have a great day.